owning a home is extremely important. It's a milestone in people's lives.
Yep.
And we are very lucky that not only do we have the wonderful Bart Merrick team that can try to get you into a house, we've worked with Streamline. They can help you
with the
finance
mortgage,
the house.
Anything mortgage related, Streamline can help you.
We're kind of your house guys. And then we have other people that can help you, namely, like the first one off the top of my head is Firehouse, who can help you make your house look great.
Yeah, firehousepressurewashing.com. They did Samantha's driveway. Yeah. They did my driveway and my pool deck and the area on the side of my house, the concrete.
It looks awesome, man.
Yeah, and it's a great gift, by the way. If you want to get that for someone for Christmas, clean all, pressure wash the whole driveway and the sidewalk in front of their house. And we're running a promotion. If you use Firehouse Pressure Washing, just send me an email, tom@tomanddan.com, and we will send you a gift, straw hat, some piece of T&D merch.
You guys know the drill. We've done this before. You use our guys and tell us about it, and then we hook you up.
And this goes with all our sponsors that have to do with the house. Paisley Painting. If you go to paisleypainting.com, you need your house painted. I did.
Your house looks amazing.
They're great.
They did Christine, one of our friends' houses. We have multiple listeners that have had their entire house painted by Paisley.
Call their number at paisleypainting.com. You can get a free quote, and they can do an instant quote. They don't even have to come to your house. You don't have to deal with the salesperson or anything. They just quote how much it will cost to paint your house. Also, we've got Secured Roofing and Solar.
Yep.
They'll soft clean your roof if your roof has mold on it. Some roofs get dirty. They'll clean it all, make your house look nice. If you need a new roof or need any repairs or solar, securedroofingandsolar.com can help you. We also have AmericanAirandHeat.com.
Oh, man, I love those guys. Those are my boys.
Those are our AC sponsor.
Well, they got all my zones. Like, I have a computer system that runs the zones in my house, and they finally we had that old little old Italian man who fixed it. Like, this guy's been doing AC. He's been an AC tech for 30 years. He's awesome. All of their guys are vetted. They'll treat you like kings. But look, you got to tell them that you know us. You have to make it known. It really helps you out.
And then also, if you need homeowners insurance or any type of insurance, BlanchardInsurance.com.
Jamie was on the BDM page trying to help people out. If you're a BDM, go to the page. You can ask her questions right there. Her name is Jamie Hoover.
And if you can't find any of these sponsors, they're all listed at tomanddan.com. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
Did you know that we're having a beer fest this weekend, Sam?
Yeah.
Did you know about that?
I did.
It's free.
Beer
fest.
Free beer fest.
Saturday, get there at noon to get your sample cup. Pouring starts at 2, and live music starts at 2.
Let me tell you how to do it.
DJ Sharp.
Like Tom's saying, you get there at noon. Get your sample cup, and then you go off property and find someplace in the adjacent Sanford area to
hang
eat.
out in Celery City.
Yeah, you go to
Hollabox.
Go to Hollabox, get something to eat. There's a bunch of little places around there. Tuffy's is around there, and there's a lot of places to snack.
Then, make your way back at 2. I know that's Oklahoma Stackhouse is going to perform.
Yep, and that's when the beer starts pouring.
Yeah, and then basically, we say it's from 2 to 4, but really, all the breweries that are bringing beer, they're going to pour until it's out. So if it goes to 4:30, they're just going to, give away all their beer. And then the next day, we got the Sanford Sofa races, Sofas and Suds. That starts at 2. So it's the Sanford weekend, all free. Come out, bring your families.
Yep. We'd love to see you.
We've got Chris Crespo here. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
From Cinema Crespediso.
Yes.
So, Chris, we haven't talked to you in a while, and me and Daniel actually have seen a bunch of movies and shows, and I've been watching House of Dragons. I watched the Yellowstone premiere last night.
Was that season 4? Season 5?
Season 5.
Wow.
Season 5, I believe, because I wanted to start Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And first of all, what's weird is that and I think this is unfair, I think it gets touted as the conservative show, and I think that's completely unfair. But I feel like you felt with Game of Thrones, where if we're starting the 5th season, I can't get involved. I have to stay out. It's too much.
It's a lot. It's an investment.
That's a lot of Dutton. That's too much Dutton.
I remember people, though, a lot of people got on Breaking Bad when season 5 was about to start.
I think you did.
Yeah.
You got in late. You're really good at binging. You and your wife are classic bingers, man. You're good at it.
Well, we'll get a show and then we'll watch it once a night or like every other night. It's like that kind of thing. And then over time, and we don't watch much TV, but if we get into a show, then it'll be our new show. Yeah. And then until we, either get current or wait for the next season.
I'm proud that you do that. I don't do that. I watch 2 episodes. I'm like, I'm bored.
I get it.
And then I'm out.
So I promise it's not going to be all about Yellowstone, but I wanted to ask Chris.
I tagged you. The Wild Wild West Saloon was having a watch party.
Yeah. People dressed as Duttons.
I thought you would have enjoyed that.
Who's the other guy?
That's too much camaraderie, too much fun.
Can I ask you?
I don't like that.
Can I ask you guys a question? Does everybody here watch Yellowstone except for me?
I don't.
So me and you are the weirdos.
I don't watch it either.
Okay, so
no
he's the only weirdo that does watch it.
It's on my list. I want to watch it. I just,
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I'm not going to kid you. I do want to watch it. Plus, my dad really loved Costner.
Yeah. I love Costner.
I have no interest.
Yeah,
no, really.
My dad loved Kevin Costner, and so let me ask you this question: just from what I've been seeing, does the hot lady Beth Dutton? Because I know she's the only one I know because she told me to look her up naked one time. I saw her boobs. They're great. They're fantastic. Great bolt-ons. Just fantastic. Is this show about Kevin Costner? He's the patriarch of the family.
Yeah.
Does Beth Dutton sleep with the dark bearded guy? What's that? Rip.
Yeah.
Does she cheat on Kevin? Is he a cuck?
No. What do you mean?
Because it looks like
no.
She sleeps with the bad guy. Isn't she married to Kevin Costner?
No. That's Kevin Costner's daughter.
Oh, that's his daughter.
Yeah.
You can't cuck the dad.
Yeah, no, they don't have any. That's his daughter, and then Rip is the
boyfriend he doesn't like, the ranch hand that works under him that he doesn't like.
No, he likes it. Though he's his right hand man.
But he's the bad guy. He's the bad. Does the bad stuff.
Well, he
takes care of business.
He's kind of like Breaking Bad. It's like he's the technically he's the hero,
he's the
but also the anti-hero.
Loyal.
Sure.
He's loyal, and sometimes he has to do some sticky things.
Anyway, without giving anything away, I will say that I'm worried that Yellowstone is going the way of Walking Dead and not the way of Breaking Bad, and I'll explain.
Oh my God, chocolate pudding on the roof! No, somebody kill this show right now. I hate. Oh God,
you're right. When people started getting, I did the same thing. I got into Breaking Bad like season 5, whatever, like before the finale, whatever. But I feel like I got into it and it was great, and then it had a ending in sight,
and it ended. Yeah,
and it ended, and they knew when it was ending. And I feel like Yellowstone sees the popularity. I mean, they see the Halloween costumes.
Everybody,
I think,
and they've already done multiple spinoffs. They did.
Isn't it the most downloaded show in the damn world or something? Like someone mentioned that.
They got the 1883 spinoff,
and then they started.
I watched that whole thing.
Yeah. What's the new one? 1930.
1983.
Oh yeah.
No.
1983.
No, 1938.
But they were going to do another one. It was going to be like 1920.
I think in 1983, John Dunn.
Yeah, look at my mustache. Look at my balls are falling out of my shorts.
They just de-aged Kevin Costner.
So I'm worried that this is going to be a cash grab from now on.
It already is. They've already done 3 spinoffs.
Yeah, but
that's true.
This thing, they're going to ride this till the wheels fall off, and it's going to be Walking Dead.
Cowboy joke.
And then we're going to be watching it, and then it never goes anywhere, and just keeps on trying to squeeze every penny out of it, and squeeze the life out of it.
There goes Carl's eyeball got blown out.
Yeah, the story's just going to deteriorate down to where it becomes a cliche of itself.
Then
and
there's going to be Fear the Yellowstone, and that's going to go on for 2 minutes.
Somebody started that goddamn Fear the Walking Dead, and I liked it, Al. And then it ended, and I was like, damn you, Fear the Walking Dead.
Wait, that was the one you complained about because you're like, all they do is get on a boat, and the zombies can't swim, so they're fine, and they just ride around in their boats. And I'm like, well, all right.
Well, then they're in Mexico. I'm like, oh, here we go, Mexican zombies.
My dad said Mexican zombies are lazy.
Anyway, so Chris,
you're not allowed to say that, Chris.
Let's talk about.
I'm not allowed to say it. I can say that.
Let's talk about movies.
All right,
all right.
Because I was complaining.
I think I used to do a cable access show called Let's Talk About Movies. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I used to do a cable access show called Let's Talk About Movies.
You sat in a black box theater with a couple of plants on the stage.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
So
this week we're talking about Aladdin.
I don't know what new releases are out, and the only time I had a glimpse of them was when I took this long ass flights to Hawaii.
Sure.
And so it was like, and by the way, my screen was broken 2 of the legs of the flight. So
I mean, they should at least walk back and hand you an iPad.
I think so, right?
And be like, here, it's got everything on it.
Or at least have the stewardess tell you the plot of the movie.
Well, I told the
sit with
the
me and
flight
tell me a
attendant.
story.
And then she's like, I'll reset it. And then she reset it, and I see the DOS the
screen,
the green, and
Windows 95.
And I'm like, there's no way that works. And she's just placating me by saying, I'm going to reset it. She knows that resetting it is not going to work the volume because I couldn't hear it.
Somebody else's.
By the way, I watched that movie where they're stuck up on the
I watched
antenna.
that as well.
Fall.
Yeah, but I watched it with no volume.
Which is insane.
It's called Death Fall.
And it made me mad, especially with the eating the buzzard. Okay.
That was so funny, the buzzard. That made me laugh in the theater. Oh, my goodness.
But I looked through all the new releases, and I was struggling to find anything interesting to me.
Sure.
And then I'm like, is it my age? Is it the fact that, what is it? Why isn't there...
What's my age again?
Well,
I used to fly in flights, and then there was new releases, like at least 2, that I was like, oh, this is cool.
This year in 2022, there's a lack of product because just like every other industry...
Is it catching up to us now?
Yes, Hollywood has had a supply stream issue where all the shutdowns that happened in 2020, and it took a long time for productions to ramp back up, all those things would have been done now, and we'd be having all new movies and shows now. But instead, there's a big gap, and it won't come back fully until next year. They're saying 2023 is when production schedules fully ramp back up, and we start seeing a full pipeline of
When
content
does
again.
Rust come out? When is that?
Yeah, sometime next year, I believe.
Yeah,
I can't believe that's still happening.
I know. Now he's suing.
No, the guy, the widower, dropped the lawsuit, came to an agreement with the producers.
No, Alec Baldwin is suing.
I think that got dropped too because
as of like 2 days ago, Alec Baldwin
was a new suit.
Yeah, he was back in it.
The widow's husband, the widower, is now an executive producer on that movie.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's like, well, what can you do?
If I can't beat him, I'm gonna join him.
Yeah,
exactly.
They killed my wife.
That's
so
crazy.
I'll finish the movie.
Exactly.
So it's like, I
Maybe
think
he feels like it was her work and he needs to finish it.
He's got to twist himself into it somehow,
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm right
man.
in the fact that I feel like there's just not that much out there, and
there's a lack of content.
And
weirdly,
we saw the content during the pandemic that we would assume would be like, oh, now it's going to be dead, but all that content was like finishing up the prior year. So we got new content during the pandemic, and now we're getting the dead zone.
Right, exactly.
Since we haven't seen you in a minute, let's go back a month rather, and talk about big like Halloween releases. Were there anything that were on your radar, anything that we might have missed in there? That
I think that there's only been a handful of horror movies, but they all surprisingly hit. They were all popular and made money. So I did see Smile.
I saw Smile.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was on your show. We watched a trailer on there, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll check this out. And I watched it a couple weeks later. It's a good movie. That's a very fun, kind of jump scare heavy, but still enjoyable. Good atmosphere. A bonkers ending with like sort of a creature effect that really blew me away.
Nice. Okay.
The ending really surprised me.
So you like that one?
I enjoyed that
Smile.
one.
Okay.
The one I really surprised me. It's now on HBO Max.
Can I
Barbarian.
ask you a question about Smile, though? Because I think we might even talked about it on here.
Yeah.
The audience reaction, like, they weren't that upset with some of the actual things they should have been upset about, but when the guy called her, asked if she was bipolar and crazy, and everybody in the whole theater was like, bro, you can't say that. And I'm like, wow, that's quite the woke reaction. Because like nobody cared about like physical things that were happening in the movie, but one guy called a girl crazy, and it was the worst thing you could possibly
crazy.
do.
And the guy was like, hey, dog, I got a line.
That's exactly what went down.
But that's interesting.
What is happening?
That's also kind of what the movie's about, though.
Right.
It's about this woman having something happen to her that no one else can see, so people don't believe her. So it's about, hashtag believe women or whatever. So for the audience to then react that way, it's like the movie is working.
Based around the movie is hashtag believe women.
Yeah, it was a weird ad campaign.
Okay.
It was just said smile, believe women. Like, all right, I don't know what this means. That's a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah. And then I went and saw, a couple weeks before that, I saw Barbarian in a theater.
I have heard that this movie is just soul-shaking.
But I'm also like, is it too gory?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of it. I heard it is soul-shaking.
There are parts that are, this movie is...
Soul! Yeah. No, seriously.
If you don't have one, I can't shake it.
You know, like when movies are touted as being so scary that, like, after you watch this, it will change you. That's what I've been hearing.
I don't know if it's that scary. What it is,
I wish I was alive to feel that. Because I watch a movie, I'm like, all right, moving on. It's all just like
watch
this is
the
just
movie.
An obvious movie, a fake movie.
Yeah, I don't know if Barbarian will do anything to your soul, but it will, I think, surprise you because especially, I mean, the time has passed for this, but when I was in theaters at a very minimal ad campaign, I actually saw it just because, again, content issue. There were no other new movies in the theater that weekend. I wanted to see a movie.
Sure.
The poster and the description looked interesting, and the Rotten Tomato score was pretty high. And that's all I checked.
So you're like, I'm in.
I'm in. I didn't look at anything else. So
you're like the guy with the Chinese food. Like, you know the equation.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I just followed the equation, and then I sat down, and then this movie, it threw me for 2 loops, maybe 3. Like, it takes a couple of turns. It changes stylistically. It has a couple big reveals. It has a bananas ending. There's not a lot of, like, violence or gore in it, but what is in it is, like, whoa, like, surprising and effective. And I walked out of that theater totally, like, surprised and happy with the experience of seeing this absolutely crazy movie that halfway through it becomes, like, it goes campy. It gets so over the top at times. But, like you're seeing something that's crazy and horrifying, but then it's so wild you want to laugh at it for sure. It's a good movie, and it's on HBO Max right now. And I don't want to give any other details away.
Okay.
I do say, I think you can watch the trailer for Barbarian, and it doesn't give anything away. It effectively lets you know what the movie's sort of about, the setup. It gives you an idea of the mood, the atmosphere, without giving away any of the cool twists and turns.
Okay.
But if you want to watch it even without that, it's worth it. It's on HBO. And it's 90 minutes. Come on.
So it's quick.
Yeah, it's quick.
Chris, I got to ask you a general question about how movies are getting made and the production companies and the streaming services before we get into any specifics.
Sure.
So it seems like there's not a front runner of streaming services that has like branded themselves as they make the best movies, right?
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of like quality.
Yeah, and the quality and just like they get the like. So it seems like between HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they're all still fighting like and like trying to make movies. But I thought by now one would emerge and be like we'd all as a society be like, oh, Amazon makes the best movies,
sure,
or Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, but
I really thought it'd be either Netflix or Amazon, and I think even now most people, I think just because of name recognition, the Kleenex effect, I think most people would defer to Netflix. They would just say that. I don't think it's true.
Netflix is like now a legacy streamer because it's been around for so long. Right, exactly. And they crank out so many movies.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been like where we are like, oh, Netflix made it, it's going to be good.
I don't think it's
kind of like,
you're right.
Actually, the way I look at it, this may not be like across, the culture ubiquitous, but the way I look at it now, after having a number of years of examples, if you're telling me, oh, here's a Netflix original, unless like I know who the director is or I know what the plot is, I'm like, I'm not that interested in your Netflix movies because most of them have been bad. Yeah. They're more Bird Boxes than there are like The Irishman. They're pretty lame. HBO Max, their program has always been associated with quality for TV stuff. I feel like they're trying to do that with movies. Yeah. They just haven't put out that many Max originals in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So
what are their big?
I think their biggest one may have been. Oh, the biggest may have been American Pickle, the Seth Rogen comedy that came out like at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's one of those movies that just got memory hold.
Who has
everyone
Dairy
forgot
Girls?
about it. Dairy Girls, I think
that's Netflix.
That's Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to like think of another show.
You would think Amazon because they have unlimited money.
Amazon has all the money. Yeah. So like Lord of the Rings is a huge show that looks great.
Yeah, but everybody keeps crapping on that for me. Every time I want to go in on that, I'll get some listener will email it seriously, and they'll be like, Dan, I know what you're thinking. Don't be doing the Lord of the Rings. You're going to start clowning it, making fun of it. You're going to hate it. They said, I have people write me and say that the physical, like the way that it's been computer animated or the CGI within that universe will make me mad. Where do you?
Oh, really?
What do you think about that?
I think the CG looks like CG. It looks like the expensive streaming CG. It still looks like CG. It's like in the 80s. You watch a movie and you can tell something's a matte painting for the background. Those aren't clouds. That's a painting.
Right.
You can still tell it's CG. That's not a mountain. That's CG. So it's whatever. The costuming's great. The sets are great. I think it's a good show, not a fantastic show for all the money they spend.
So it's worth it.
I think it's worth it. It's fine if you like fantasy. I do. House of the Dragon. It's funny that those shows came out at the same time, and I was watching them at the same time.
House of the Dragon dwarfed it.
House of the Dragon. that show does not mess around at all. Like, that is like fun, exciting, crazy.
I haven't heard one bad thing
show.
about that show. I haven't had one person tell me that's a bad show.
I think that show's great. And
I haven't started
Lord of the Rings was like, when it was over, I was like, okay, I think it was worth it, but it wasn't like a home run for me.
We're waiting to the end of House of Dragons to kind of do what you and Crystal typically do, which is gather them all and then kind of rip through them when we can.
Watch all like 4 seasons or whenever it comes out.
No, I just want to watch the entire season.
Oh, it's done. Season 1's done.
Yeah, it just stopped. So I think we're going to load that one up next.
Yeah, it's like 10 episodes. And it goes by pretty quick too.
Ours pretty graphic too.
Oh yeah.
Get ready for a night of asking your wife what they said because you can't understand.
Turn those subtitles on, man. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Turn them on.
And it's like it's dark, and then I'm like, what did that guy say?
Do you have a QLED TV?
No, I do not.
Well, then episode 7, you're not going to be able to see nothing because there's this thing you may
have
have
an
seen
old school plasma where the blacks are really black.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Oh man,
like you may have heard, there was when one of the episodes came out, there was a lot of people were mad, like, I couldn't see nothing the whole episode. And then there were some people who were like, I could see stuff fine on my TV. It's because these shows all get shot and edited on these Hollywood production quality 8K resolution screens.
They have in their monitors at that point.
They have the best quality stuff that they're working on, so they're fine tuning their image for these amazing computers or amazing monitors, and then they give it to HBO, who compresses the file, and then they put it out, and it's on my crappy TV that I got at Walmart for $500.
Yeah, your Vizio.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not going to look the same. So I'm looking at a black screen that I can barely see anything, and I'm like, this show sucks, But it's just because it's the way the technology.
Put that bitch on vivid mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me the vivid.
Give me the cinema mode or something. Yeah.
So, Chris, we're moving into I guess the end of the year and holiday movies, and Thanksgiving is coming up, and so is there any I guess
like holiday movies
or really exciting blockbusters that are even getting released now, or still because of the lag of COVID, we're gonna have to wait till next year?
Well, I would say, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever just came out, made $180 million in the past. I feel like
3 everybody
days.
I know saw that this weekend.
Yeah, well, $180 million. That's how that works.
Disney was promoting it like they were handing out Wakanda Forever flyers at the Fort Wilderness. They're giving a whole pamphlet of
Fort Wakanda.
Yeah.
That'd be a good
the trailer,
a good rebrand.
I think the trailer looks dope.
The trailer is a great trailer.
Yeah, whoever did that trailer, for me it's a great I'm trailer. Literally at this point I'm just a wild Marvel hater, just right out there in front of everybody. And I thought that trailer ruled.
Yeah, it's like this is a rousing, interesting trailer.
It also feels like it's got the weight of the emotion behind the death.
Well, that's the thing. The movie, it's explicitly about, in the movie, the death of Black Panther and T'Challa. That happens like opening scene, off screen, and then the first 20 minutes of the movie, it's like, well, there's a funeral, we're talking about it. The movie is about the grief of losing the character. And that's pretty much what makes the movie work, is that it has real emotion tied to it. So when people are talking about death and grief and how do you deal with the loss of someone, these feel like real conversations that people would be having. And then when it cuts like, okay, now we got to find the vibranium and do the superhero stuff, it's like, can we get back to the, being sad? I kind of like the sad stuff more.
They wear they wear those funny running shoes.
Yeah, they all got the toes sticking out.
Those are Vibrams.
Oh, okay.
Vibram 5.
So it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It doesn't hit as hard as the first one, but also there's like expectations. And then the lack of Chadwick Boseman can't be discounted. Like he's part of the reason why the first Black Panther is so good.
Oh, right.
But then they introduced Namor in the second one, and he's pretty cool, and I really like all that stuff. So I really enjoyed that movie, and it's going to make a bunch of money because there's also, again, lack of product. That has a kind of open runway for a few weeks, at least until mid-December when we get Avatar: The Way of Water, which are also advertising pretty
The Shape of Water, that's when that lady...
that would be the wildest crossover ever.
Man,
I don't want to see no Navi sleeping with an Amazon River god. That'd be weird,
She slept with that damn that mud alien.
Yeah, that's the thing where like that opens up and it goes like this.
Yeah, oh my God.
No, don't do that.
What you just did with your hand was the most explicit hand gesture I've ever seen in my life.
It's directly from the movie.
Open it up and here comes the seat. Put your finger there, now wiggle it. Oh my God, it feels like a...
So,
Avatar.
How long is it in this movie? Like 8 hours long?
I think James Cameron said it's conservatively about 22 hours long.
No one gives a damn about your stupid Navi.
Well, that's what he just said in an interview the other day.
Does he understand we don't care?
3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's over 3 hours. He did say in an interview like a week ago that he knows it's been so long since the last Avatar, things are different, and that we are going to find out very soon, this is his exact quote, if people give an S or not.
We
anymore.
don't.
So then when this movie comes out, if it flat out bombs,
it will.
Then Avatar 3 ain't even happening. If it makes some money, they're going to finish Avatar 3 because it's already 90% shot. If it makes a lot of money and it hits hard like the first one does somehow, even close to the first one, then he'll continue with Avatar 4 and 5. He'll keep making them as long as people turn out. We don't want any more Avatars, then we just don't go to the theater.
He said the one thing that I think is going to kill it, I think, in an interview, he said that the one thing that Avatar 1 lacked was true emotional connection, right? Didn't he say something along the lines of, like, they didn't spend enough time with, like
making the face, like connecting to the face or something?
Yeah, like with
our human brains can't really emotionally connect to the CGI.
Right. And I'm like, that's fine. Just move on. But you did it. It was great.
Yeah, but I mean, people, like I just watched Wakanda Forever. People connect to Black Panther. Half that movie is CG nonsense. I can clearly tell it's CG. They showed the Avatar trailer before that. It looked like they found 8-foot-tall blue people swimming underwater. Like, it looks great for 2022 CG motion capture. It looks incredible. It'll probably look a little wonky 5-10 years from now when we look back on it. But for current technology in our eyes, it looks really good.
I haven't revisited Avatar since I saw it in the theater.
So
yeah, they just did a re-release too in theaters. It made enough money to put it back as the #1 worldwide film of all time ever.
Huh. Well, I got excited when I saw Avatar 2 because in my mind, I was like, oh, my sons, I'm going to show them Avatar 1 and then we'll go to the theater to watch Avatar 2.
On.
And then, do the 3D and the glasses and stuff. And but I realize it's just too long to keep their attention. They're too young at 7 and 8.
And it starts a little
movie.
Slow too. Yeah, maybe it might be tough.
We tried to watch. We watched Avatar 1 together, and they got halfway through, and that was it. They lost. You know, it's just like nowadays.
That's
like,
enough of Giovanni Ribisi or what's that guy?
Ribisi. Yeah,
Ribisi.
The kids love Ribisi.
Kids.
Oh, he doesn't hold their attention like the TikTok. What's wrong with you, Ribisi?
It's his fault.
Younger kids, I mean, especially in this world, like faster, like they want things faster, and things are shorter, and it's like now this 3.5-hour epic movie is just too long. Like honestly,
you need a 30-second Avatar.
Like I would find myself like drifting off and looking at Facebook for it's hard to hold my attention as a 40-year-old man now because I'm so used to something's gonna be happening.
What am I doing? I've been sitting for 4 hours. I'm watching two 8-foot-tall aliens put their butts together.
And you're also doing it in your home where you're like, well, my fridge is right there. Oh, I have all these toys right here. I could be doing anything right now in my home as opposed to I'm going to a theater to see this. I'm sitting in this room. This is why I'm here. You're giving yourself up over to the movie as opposed to, okay, let's sit down in our comfy home. Oh, pause it so I can go make some popcorn or do whatever. You know, it's a different environment too. So
but
it's tough. It's tough to get a kid to sit down for that long in their home.
And I think even bringing them to the theater, which my plan for Avatar, like 3.5 hours, maybe
that might be tough.
Like I feel like after 2, they're gonna be like another hour and a half. After 2 hours,
after 1, they fidget.
They're gonna start squirming around to me like I can't take it anymore.
Or there's also a chance. Conversely, you sit them down, the lights go down, movie starts, and they get sucked in for 3 hours, and then it's over. And
I wish.
And then they might be like, wow, that was a 3-hour movie? That may surprise them.
You're right. I remember going to the first movie that I had that effect with. I don't know what that's called, but I can remember. It was the very first Michael Keaton Batman. And I remember at the end of the Michael Keaton Batman, I looked around, I looked at my buddy Dave, and I was like, dude, I wanted more of that.
Yeah, like it's over?
Awesome.
The first time I felt that, right around the same time. That's such a good movie. 88. There's a comedy that no one knows about called Brain Donors. It's a John Turturro. It's a remake of a Groucho Marx of a Marx Brothers movie.
Oh, okay.
A Day at the Opera or Night at the Opera. It's a remake of
Brain Donors.
And it's just like an airplane style joke a minute movie. 80 minutes long, very short. But I saw that when I was 6 or 7 with my mom in the theater, and I remember leaving the theater like that movie's over already. Like I enjoyed it so much. It didn't feel like it was over an hour. It felt like time went by really fast. So if it works on your kids, then the time won't be an issue for them. But then if it doesn't, then you're sitting in the theater with these two kids like, I want to get out of here. Dad, can we please leave? And I just paid $15 for these tickets. Put those glasses back on your head.
You should be able to take it to go. like if you get a movie with the way that
to go back,
like you should be able to, like if you have to leave early or if you have kids, you should be allowed to be like duck out, and then you still have it on your phone.
There you go.
Or on a streaming service device for the next 24 to 48 hours.
You got a QR code to scan on the way
that
out.
way you can save it and salvage it. It's kind of like there's been multiple times when May was a little kid where she'd start throwing a fit.
Sure.
And we're there, and I'd be like, to go, and then I just get all the food.
Can we get the rest of this Toy Story packed up, please? So
and I would just take it home because like I'm not going to fight this fight in the middle of Chewy's.
That's actually
like,
it was a genius idea because you're still getting the money. The theater's still getting the ticket.
Yeah, just cancel it after 24 hours. Give me the ability to watch it later tonight.
We should cut this part of the show out, mail it to ourselves, and sell it to theaters so we can.
So
make
what
some
else
money.
are you watching right now? Give us some insight into some fun things that you've been kicking around.
Well, streaming-wise stuff, I've been watching this show on Amazon. Speaking of Amazon and all the money they're spending, there's a sci-fi show called The Peripheral, which is on, I think, episode 4.
I have seen these commercials, and I've heard that this one is just crazy, but they also keep it rooted. Like there's a lot of like the laws of reality are also at play.
Yeah.
So they don't go so far-fetched. It's supposed to be like almost a conceivable futuristic world. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely. It takes place during 2 time periods.
Okay.
But they interact with each other in an interesting sci-fi way. So one of them is like 2032, 2033, like Appalachia Mountains or something.
Okay.
And then the other one is like 2090 something London. So obviously 2090, it feels a little more sci-fi futuristic.
Right.
But the one that's in 2030, it's like, just go outside. It's the same as it is right now, except people have different video game technology. And then there's this whole thing with like soldiers have implants that they use to communicate with each other called haptics. It's a pretty cool sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
But outside that, they're just wearing like, Jordache jeans and getting lattes. It's still the real world.
Normal stuff.
Well, that's more believable.
I'll cut the Jordache part out.
What future movies?
It's a poor society.
What future movies have always done this, and I understand why, because you want the grandiose future that people like, that everybody's like, it's all skyscrapers and flying cars, like
or Blade Runner or something,
Fifth Element or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you're like, you're like, all right, this is, I understand this is like 2200 or whatever.
Sure.
But it's like, in only 100 years, we demolished everything and then built these skyscrapers.
No. People are living in the cloud cities. It's like, nah.
Right,
you start looking at 100 years in the past, in 1920, yes, there was a lot of, but it didn't look. It wasn't like the difference between that and today is like, oh my God, sky.
It's not like everywhere is Tokyo or like all those intersections of Tokyo where huge billboards. It's not like the whole world.
It's like
is
the
that.
Blade Runner effect,
right? Exactly.
Anything you look at, there's like a blimp with a Coca-Cola billboard on it. It's like dystopian.
A giant talking billboard.
Most people are living in Florida at a house that was built in the 70s.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the same house. It's like it's not a skyscraper.
That makes me think of. Do you guys remember this movie? Was only okay, but the Matt Damon movie Elysium.
Yes,
that was like a sort of futuristic. It took place like a little bit in the future, so there's a lot of sci-fi stuff happening. But it's also in like the slums of South Africa. So they go inside someone's house, and it just looks like my house. It looks normal.
Right.
But then they got like a nice TV in there, and that's everything's
that bothers
poor
me
and crappy.
sometimes,
but
where
nice
it's
TV.
like they'll have like a laser gun technology, or they're riding a hover bike.
Yeah. You're like, wait, there's no way.
But then everything else sucks.
But everything else is like just like you said. It's just like 1990s house.
The reality is in 2022, everything's the same in some of these like villages in Africa and stuff. Is everybody just has a smartphone. So it's like that's what the future will be 100 years from now. It's just the smartphone will be better or in your ear or in your brain.
It's not going to be complete transformation. It's just slight adjustments to what we have now. So that's what the Peripheral stylistically is like that.
So you're enjoying
cool.
the Peripheral.
I'm enjoying it. I also read
that means they're probably going to cancel it. Yeah. Because Amazon does that to me every year. There'll be one show I get obsessed with, and then it's like canceled.
That's possible.
This one looks cancelable too because it's got cool action sequences.
It looks expensive.
Yeah, it looks expensive. They've got like the commercials that I watch. Like I do want to watch it.
Yeah.
No one else in my household is going to get on board for this.
You might as well wait for it to finish and crush it on your own. Watch it in the bathroom.
I don't even have time to crush things on my own. I just have to look at that thing, understand that it's not going to be playable in my household, and I just have to bid it goodbye.
Accept it for what it is.
Bid it goodbye.
Well, it's a good book. It's a William Gibson book. William Gibson profession is a science fiction writer, and he's mostly known as the guy who invented the word cyberspace in like '84.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, he's very influential.
Is he okay with what we've done with it? Or
no, he hates it. And actually, I don't even think he likes that word anymore.
Because I bet you we ruined the definition that he had in mind, right?
Probably, too. And then also, he's good at like looking at what we have and be like, well, how can we screw this up in 10, 15 years? And then he writes about that. And then it seems like, oh, this guy's super prescient because he knows how we're going to misuse technology. But all he's doing is like looking at the worst of humanity and predicting it correctly. That's all. So The Peripheral is very cool. Good book. And it's a good show. I'm also enjoying that one.
Chris, can I throw out something? I wish you could actually gamble on the success of movies because I feel like I'd be good with this one.
There is.
Dude, there's
I don't know if I should tell you this.
Way to do that.
There is.
There's got to be a site.
There was. Maybe. I don't know if it's still around anymore, but there was a thing where you could sort of. It's
betting on the box office?
Yeah, it's like fantasy football, betting on the box office. As movies came out there each weekend, you can sort of gamble how much money it was going to make. Man, what was that called? That was like 6-7 years ago, maybe.
With this movie that I'm about to mention,
there is a website called bettingboxoffice.com.
Okay, all right, interesting. Now,
is it offshore?
The box office is confusing because it doesn't necessarily mean that the movie is good,
right?
Because it could mean that people want to see it and go to see it a piece of junk.
It means the marketing is good.
Yeah,
like
a big Jackass has a big opening, but it's not a good movie.
Yeah, well, it's all about. I heard someone say this once years ago, and it makes sense. If a movie has a big opening weekend, that was a successful marketing campaign. If it has a good second weekend and a third weekend, that means people like the movie and they're telling other people to watch it.
So like Black Adam, a lot of people like that.
People do like it, and it does keep making money. You know, also again, lack of content in theaters, but it was number one at the box office for like 3 weeks in a row. It made $20 million in the second weekend. Its third week also, I believe it did well enough.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that we're going to get another Black Adam 2. We're going to get all this more crossover stuff, so it's going to happen.
Well, this is
okay. They should do the old Chris Rock, like bigger, blacker Adam would be.
I would be.
Funnier.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be funny if they
and make it funny too. Why not?
I saw a movie that's coming out that I looked at and I'm like, 100% this will be bad. And no, it's subjective with people's, but I would bet subjectively, like a Rotten Tomato score, I would bet this movie comes in 30 or under.
Wow, that's a lot of people saying we don't like it.
And you guys will probably agree because I don't think it's even possible to redo this movie and make it good. I think
I know what you're going to say.
It's an impossible task because the first one was so unique and how they did it was so unique. I heard them talk about it as Half-Baked 2.
Yeah.
And there's no possible way Half-Baked 2 is going to be good.
Stinking up the BDM page all weekend long, people talking about
I'll bet anything because...
I got to be honest, I was nervous for Clerks 3, right? Kind of for the same reasons, but it was actually really good.
But I heard Kevin...
Okay.
And they brought, basically everybody from the original.
You said it was kind of poignant and sad.
I mean, funny too, but there was some heavy parts. But
Kevin
there's
Smith,
no way.
But Kevin Smith was
involved
in everything,
in everything, and did everything, and was very familiar. I heard him in an interview with Bill Simmons on his podcast about how he made Clerks 3 and and he was very honest with. He's like, I could not make the same movie even close because I made Clerks 1 when I was a clerk. He's like, it was before I was Kevin Smith. He's before I could. So I made this while I was working at the convenience store. It's never been done. So now it's impossible to even come close to that because
he's a different person.
I'm a millionaire, a director. So
he's got children now.
But he almost died.
But in the way he made it, though, because it was completely different, and I heard people liked it. Now, here's why Half-Baked 2 can never exist or never be good like the first one is.
Okay.
First, Dave Chappelle's not in it. Of course, he's not in it.
Heck
he hated the first one. He made fun of the first one.
Because he said, we made a weed movie for kids. He was so upset that they set out to make an R-rated weed movie, and then it got edited down to PG-13. And if you watch the movie, you can tell where things got edited down.
And if you listen to Neil Brennan and like Dave Chappelle's Mark Twain Award celebration or whatever, he talks about how they didn't even write it until they wrote it one day. It was
like a passing thought.
They just threw it all together and they improv'd a lot, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
it was just a lightning in a bottle thing. It was lucky it even worked.
And you could tell, and part of that is because Dave Chappelle's a genius.
Excellent casting.
And
Harlan Williams.
And he improv'd a lot, and I think the whole movie was like, let's just see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, the vibe was good.
And the vibe was good, and it was, I bet they
Sometimes
just effed
that's
around.
all you need.
They effed around, and they pooped it out, and it was a cult classic.
They also got like a pretty competent director. What's her name? Tamara Davis.
That's what I was going to say. If you really dig into Half-Baked, which I think Sam and I've done multiple times, you're right. It had some pieces that actually set it up for success because I almost cursed there. It wasn't any BS. The back end was like they had good people doing it, and I think think they hated it. But they were still competent people making the movie, which also helped to its success.
And then Davis, she made like CB4 before that, so she already had.
There was the connection to CB4, which if you go back and revisit CB4, you couldn't. First of all, you can't do that ever again. But it was awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Was so fun.
It was also a time where weed was still taboo, and
very taboo,
and like it was still illegal, and people were like, so the fact that it was celebrating it was like, oh wow, like I can't believe they're doing it,
sure.
and so like all that mixed with Dave Chappelle at the very beginning of his career, working hard, and trying to make people laugh, I'm like, all that mixed together came out with this pop culture phenomenon, Half Baked, right? Which we all watched and we all laughed at, and so now they're trying to poop out a Half Baked 2. Dave Chappelle's like, hell no, I don't think Neil Brennan's involved.
No, I don't think anyone is involved.
No.
But they brought
There's only 2 cast members from the original that are going to be back. The girl that played Mary Jane and Harlan Williams.
Okay.
Oh, Harlan
they didn't even get the other guy.
No, they didn't even get the other guy.
Did he get Cuban B?
Cuban B? He's not doing anything.
He gets left out a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not fair because I don't know who that guy is, but that scene
he's awesome.
In the fast food restaurant it's great.
Find out why they didn't get Cuban B because
it's disrespectful to call him that.
He's probably asking for too much money.
No, he's not doing anything.
He's moved on like everybody else is like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, Cuban B would be like, oh my God, it's my
son. He could be dead.
Yeah, but
you don't know. He could be doing radio.
There's no way.
Might as well be dead.
He was doing Scandal. He was in Weeds. He's been doing stuff.
So he's been working. Okay, he's been working. Good
anyway,
he was in Bros, which I did want to see.
That'll be on streaming any minute now.
He's been doing Law and Order. He's been working, man.
Good for him.
What are the chances that this is good at all?
The chances are as good.
It's zero. It's zero.
They're as good as Cheech and Chong's Still Smoking. They're as good as Harold and Kumar Go to Guantanamo Bay.
No,
How
garbage.
High 2. As good a chance as those sequels.
Right?
Yeah.
What has been the most recent good stoner movie? Probably a Seth Rogen.
Yes.
Right? Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express.
Pineapple
Express.
Express.
That was 30 years
That's what I'm
ago.
saying. It's like it's not a. Is it a genre that people want anymore?
It's not taboo anymore.
No,
Right.
well, I don't think it's a bad genre, but
Your grandma has her medical card.
Well, wait a minute. Is that why that Beer Run movie with Zac Efron didn't do well? Because beer's not taboo and nobody cares about taking beer to the military in Vietnam?
No.
I thought it would be a good movie.
I think that's just
or was it Korean War?
I think it's Vietnam.
I think that looked good. I thought that movie looked cool as hell. And he did. That's based on a true story. The guy brought beer to his buddy.
What's that on Apple Plus?
Yeah, that looked good.
That's the problem. Not enough people have Apple Plus.
Dude, Apple Plus got some stuff.
Apple Plus has quality.
Stuff.
Not all their stuff, but they have a lot of quality stuff. It's very, very good. But
For
no
All
one
Mankind
has it,
is great.
I started a little bit of that. That's good.
Severance, fantastic. Can't wait for a season 2 of that to come out. Fantastic show. But yeah, that's why no one talks about that. And then with weed movies, I think there's still a market for it, but just like any comedy, it's hard to sequelize a comedy. The good part of a comedy is the surprise, the jokes, and then when you sequelize it, well, what are you going to do? You're going to retell the same jokes? No. You're going to invent new characters? Well, I like the characters from the first movie. It's hard to just recapture that
I
magic.
want a whole movie about Samson.
See, now you're talking. Show me the rise of Samson.
Rise of Samson.
We're going to MCU the whole Half-Baked universe. We'll wrote the movie. Will Samson have his own movie? Harlan Williams have his own movie? Make one about the dog killer. Make a killer movie. A killer series.
You could have done it that way. I mean, just you and I fleshing this out.
Yep.
We could have written a movie where Dave is only in a little bit. Look, we know you don't want to do this. He said it the other night on SNL. He said, I don't want to be in the sketches anymore. I'm old. He said that. I started laughing. And then he's like, here, just watch this thing. We wrote it or whatever.
That's funny.
He was in some, though.
A couple, but he could be in the movie for a little bit as older Samson. And then he could have a younger kid play Samson growing up in, I don't know, Jamaica, whatever you want to do.
He knows it's going to be garbage. That's why he doesn't want to be involved.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If someone brought him, if Neil Brennan brought him a brilliant script that he thought was funny, he'd be involved in it. He knows it's garbage.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it's just a money grab.
Sometimes it's time to walk away from the stuff and just let it be what it is.
Yeah, he's also now like a 50-year-old man.
Yeah, he's an old man.
He's got his own campaign against trans people. He doesn't need to be doing his some weed movies. He's doing his thing.
So what? We've got a little bit of time left. What are any new movies that are going to come out that you're excited about?
Probably weirdly, one of the things I'm most excited about, well, not weirdly, Steven Spielberg has a movie coming out.
Okay.
Now, I love Spielberg. I'm of the age, or like all of us, we're all the same age where we grew up watching all the same movies. They hit pretty hard for me. Like, I went and saw Jaws. They did a Jaws re-release a month or two ago where they converted it into 3D, the original 1975 Jaws, and they played it in theaters in 3D. And I went and saw that, and it was incredible. It was such a great experience. I loved
with the old red and blue.
No, upgraded, polarized, modern 3D.
I'm a purist. I like the old red and blue.
I would only do that if they re-released Jaws 3D, the third one, in the red and blue. I would do that.
I had to buy a magazine to get my glasses.
That's so funny. That's hysterical.
Yeah,
Did they do any gags like the boat captain does a trombone?
Yeah.
Well, in the third one they do, when they blow up the shark at the end, 40-year-old spoiler alert, when they blow up the shark, like the jawbone comes floating out of the screen at you. It's very goofy. In the original Jaws, when they convert it to 3D, there are moments where like things are coming at the camera. Like they never shot it for 3D.
Oh my God, Richard
Dreyfuss! You're like, why is Richard Dreyfuss in my face?
He's a big Dreyfuss.
I can smell Quint's fish breath. This is bad. No,
I love Quint.
It was really good. I really enjoyed that.
So, Quint wasn't an actor. That was an actual captain.
It was an actual shark fisherman.
He was an actual
really?
Shark? No, I made that up.
He was a fantastic
but he does
actor.
look right. Like you look at that guy, you're like, you're not acting, are you?
That guy was Robert Shaw, perfect casting.
He's
was so
great.
good. And then he has that USS Indianapolis speech in the movie where he talks about delivering the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb.
Yeah.
And they wrote this like 10-page speech for him to read.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't do all this, and he cut it down to like 5 pages. He edited himself, and then that's the speech that's in the movie.
Wasn't he drunk all the time? From what I read?
Drunk all the time, notorious alcoholic Robert Shaw.
On set, he was drunk all the time.
Yeah,
like they take a break. He'd yell cut to drink. I think.
Yeah,
I like the stories.
Yeah, he's awesome. So Spielberg's got a movie called The Fabelmans, which is pretty much a semi-autobiographical movie about him as a kid. Falling in love with movies, but then his parents get divorced, so it's like a family drama. So, Spielberg we associate with big blockbusters, but I think this is the first time that he's really just made a little family drama that doesn't involve like an alien running around or running away from dinosaurs or something. It's just about family. And when I do this all the time. My favorite filmmakers announce their next movie. I'm like, that sounds stupid. I don't want to see this. So why are you wasting your time making this? And then the trailer comes out, and I'm in the theater holding back tears because I'm a baby. I'm like, this looks so good. It looks so emotional. I can't wait to see it now. So that comes out around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And it'll probably be like one of the big Oscar movies when we get around to February, March. And then the other one to keep an eye out for is a movie called Babylon, which is about like 1920s Hollywood. Like decadent Hollywood, the stars of the day partying and just going crazy.
Like Fatty Arbuckle?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like a fictionalized version of all that. Yeah, so that's Margot Robbie.
Every bed has a teen in it.
A chicken in every pot and a teen in every bed. That's what we did in the 20s.
A teen in every bed.
That's why we did it.
Good.
So it's from this director.
Are they adjustable beds or just a regular flat?
No, it's a 20s. They're flat twin beds. They're awful.
No flippable either.
Terrible.
Not two sides.
This guy who made La La Land and Whiplash and First Man.
La La Land's a singing movie, right?
Yeah, which won Best Director.
Yeah.
That's the one. Remember, it won Best Director.
Will you watch that?
And then Warren Beatty announced it for Best Picture, but he was wrong, and it was actually Moonlight that won.
Yeah.
That was some crazy stuff.
Will you watch La La Land with me and hold my hand the whole time?
I loved it.
It's a good movie. I like La La Land.
I escape up into my head.
Yeah, I was just wondering what you're doing while they're la-laing on while they're singing and running, doing the whole singing in the rain. And
have you ever seen the movie Whiplash, Dan?
Yes. Is that
the drummer movie?
Old Man yells.
Old Man yells. Yeah, not my tempo.
Old Man is abusive to teen.
Yes.
Yeah, a teen in every bed. Yes, I've seen that one.
So the person who made that movie has made this Babylon movie that's being positioned as like a big end of the year. That
was the Farmers Insurance guy.
Yes, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is in the Whiplash. So every time I see Whiplash, I go, "Hey, we are farmers." Yeah, I wonder if that guy regrets that at all.
He's still doing a commercial, so no, he's probably making so much money.
But I wonder if he knows it does knock it. I'm serious.
It knocks him down a peg or two.
In my mind, it does. Like I see him, I go, "You'll always be farmers to me. Never not farmers."
It was better back before actors did commercials and stuff.
Well, Chris, we got to get you back on another day to talk about Christmas movies
I missed
coming
him.
up.
I'm talking his face off.
I know. Again, Cinema Crespediso podcast. You can find it where all podcasts are found.
Yes.
Also, PFT Media, where all your different podcast partners are on.
Tons of good shows there to check out. Please go check them out, download, and give them love.
Thank you.
And then after Thanksgiving, will you come on and talk about holiday movies?
Yeah.
Because we should cover. I mean, there's just too
the
much.
new Christmas Story sequel.
I have no faith in that.
I saw the trailer.
I'm going to watch it.
Have you seen the new trailer?
I saw like a part of it. I caught the end of it online.
I saw the first one with no
Peter
reveal.
Billingsley.
Yeah, I saw the one with no reveal. The one that has the old old Peter Billingsley in it. I have not seen it, but I just saw the still of him.
Yeah.
And man, that's hard living, right?
Yeah, because he stopped acting.
Ralphie.
Because Ralphie.
My God, age shot your eye out.
Well, not just age. He's a producer party man. He spent the last 30 years directing and he produced the first Iron Man movie, I think.
Yeah,
he worked with Jon Favreau a lot. Yeah,
he looks like he parties with Big Fat Favreau.
He never intended to stay in front of cameras, and he let his face go that way.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back. Anyway, next email.
All right. Tom, when was the last grift? I feel like we haven't heard a grifting story in a while, but I could be wrong. Or is that a thing of the past since you're living the fancy life?
He's doing dark web grifts. He's got some secret. You are a lot more secretive now in your
I'm trying to get a grift from Tom today.
We'll talk about this.
Let's talk about the grift. What do you do? What are you guys working on? I would grift something.
When people hear grift, they assume that I'm actually scamming someone, and it's more about the deal. Like,
give me a hookup.
The art of the deal. You got the horse. Let me just
the art of the grift.
Let me see if I can do it. Let me say that. I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
And just like art,
let me just say,
the deal is always subjective, depending on who you are. So Sam is going to Fort Wilderness coming
for my
up
anniversary.
And you were talking about renting a golf cart.
My therapist is there right now. You say hi to her.
I'm not going until January.
You need the golf cart because there's either that or bicycle.
Oh my God! You don't want to ride a bicycle.
Yeah, so you need the golf cart to get to the pool and all the other areas.
Or you got to wait around for that bus that takes forever to go all the way around. I know.
I don't like the bus.
No, never take the bus.
Andrea made me ride the bus one time. I was like, oh my God, and it stunk.
Are you in downtown Brooklyn? You're in Fort Wilderness. Rent the golf cart.
Hey, take me to the garden.
It's expensive.
But it's also part of the experience of Fort Wilderness is driving around drunk on a golf cart.
Just like our cowboys did back in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Get a golf cart.
By the way, I think it's perfectly... Okay, I was thinking about this.
Perfectly fine.
It is perfectly fine.
I was driving around drunk with an open container of White Claw on my golf cart the whole weekend.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
And then everybody was, and it seemed like that's fine. Would Andrea drive after 2 White Claws if there's... I know she'd even drink, but or would she say, I can't drive the golf cart because I had 2 golf carts?
Yeah,
okay,
she would.
She would actually... Yeah. Okay, because that technically
I'll tell you something
is a DUI against the law. Like, I guess in a crazy world, you could be detained and arrested for driving around a golf cart on the roads of Fort Wilderness.
You're not I don't think there's any. Did you see any of the little blue Disney security dudes?
Yeah, they drive around, but it's like no one's pulling anybody over and giving them DUI for a golf cart. It just doesn't happen.
No,
but technically it could, though. I think because you are on a legal road driving a golf cart, you could be.
She would be
DUI.
okay. I think she would be okay with that.
But she'd take the J. I just wonder how much a rule follower.
I'll tell you this. She wouldn't be, if I'm going to answer this honestly, she would not be, she wouldn't like that I have a White Claw in that flimsy golf cart cup holder.
Wouldn't want an open container while she did
I mean, if I did have one, she'd want it to be like hidden somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If she was too deep and,
Yeah, but I'll just tell you, she may or may not have walked to a wine bar last night alone and had 2 Pinot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
getting crazy.
So am I getting this deal or what?
Okay, back to the deal.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Now, will this ruin the deal though?
Maybe. I don't know.
See, that's
let's not talk about it.
Yeah,
Let's keep this on the deal.
Are you giving? Because I think I know what you're going to say, and that might.
I'll be vague.
You might get the popo on. What if you shut down this operation that's happening?
Don't shut it down.
Then you will become the pariah of Fort Wilderness, never allowed back in.
No. Like, at first, I've learned through wearing a Bear in the Big Blue House suit for 10 years, calling it Drunk at the Bear, that Disney obviously doesn't care what happens
That's coming
on the
back,
radio.
by the way.
It is coming back.
Yeah, Bear in the Big Blue House is coming back.
So I told Sam, Sam was like, man, $70 a day to rent through Fort Wilderness. I'm like, well, I got a golf cart hookup within the community community. It's like
it's a if you know you know scenario.
Yeah. I got someone. I got someone inside that can get you a golf cart.
Inside man.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they're not the same quality. I was going to mention that as the Fort Wilderness. Like you're going to get different ones, and they're
Club
all
car icon. What do you got? What are you running?
They're all different.
Straight up Power Wheel.
Yeah, they're all different qualities.
Yeah.
And
what do we got here?
The gas and the brake are all like
it's going to be the grift truck of golf carts. God damn it!
No, just pay the $70.
No, well, this is
let's do a GoFundMe.
It's $20 cheaper a day.
Go cart me.
Like this could save you $100. Like
$100 is a lot on Disney property. Yeah.
And
that's a lot of money.
But the gas pedal may be very sensitive or not sensitive. So you either got to slam it.
Extremes.
Yeah. And sometimes like the one.
What do they look like? They look okay.
Yeah, it looked like a regular golf cart,
okay.
But the one we had,
new ones with the alloys though, like the ones I'm talking about.
No,
those are great.
This is kind of been around for a while. This looks like
it's not an old gas one when you step on
it. No, it's electric. But the thing about it, like I charged it all night, and it seemingly had a problem, like going uphill, and then it
was like, how many people in it?
The whole fan.
Was it all the vans?
Yeah, the vans. We'd load the kids in there.
You'll be fine. You're only running 2 people.
Yeah.
We let the kids drive at night, which is a no-no. But it looked like no one cared. It's kind of like
if things look that way, then it is that way. Everybody knows that. Whatever it looks like, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like as long as you don't crash into someone,
that is true.
Then do what you want. But
okay.
I guess it's the threat of crashing is the problem, right? And then no one wants to crash,
right?
But they
That's
do.
why they're called accidents. Yeah.
But they do. Anyway,
just stop.
So that's the next grift. I'm already asked for the number.
So you're working the deal. So we're going to get the number of the person, I'll say, on the inside.
Now, it's a little like you'll have to text the person, and then you have to go to a separate site. There may be people on already, and then get the golf cart
steal
from
their
them.
cart.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You have to say like, hey, Peter told me.
Like Sammy sent me.
Sammy.
Or whatever. I'm just making up a name.
Well, her name's Sam. Come on, man. What happened to your prom?
Not that creative.
What the hell?
Sammy, where's
I didn't say Sammy
Sam.
sent me. What's your name? I'm Sam. Wait, Sammy? Who's Sam? Sammy? God damn, it's confusing.
Well, I told you it was confusing. And then you have to get it, and maybe in the middle of the night. I'm just like,
in the middle of the night.
Yeah. And if the person,
your husband will love this.
Yeah.
He loves a good
he
grift.
loves sketchy stuff.
Yeah, he loves a good grift.
And
he's dragging her out in the middle of the woods. She's carrying a gun.
So I will tell you, there's been a grift that I've been cooking up for a while.
He hasn't used cooking up a grift since I don't think you've said that since 2015.
But the problem is that this person is right. I do grift less now that I make more money because it is embarrassing if the person then knows that I make
a little
enough.
Too busy to grift too.
Yeah, too busy. And then I have realized that I could just pay for it. And that's the thing. I grifted most of the time back in the day for necessity because I wanted fancy things, but I didn't have the money to pay for it. Yeah. So I had to figure a way around it.
Yeah.
So now I could just buy it and then also
ruin it.
yeah. And but also it would not going to piss off Crystal because a lot of the stuff that I've got myself into,
put yourself in harm's way.
Not even harm's way,
your
but
family
there would be a guy there, and then I'll be running out in the middle of the night, and then there's be this thing, and I'm like, call the guy now. It would be like, no, we have to go. I'll be driving somewhere, and
drop me off here.
Yeah. It would just be sketchy, and Crystal's like, what are you doing? Or like there'd be the pipes are broken. You know what I'm saying? Like something would be wrong. She's yelling at me. I told you we shouldn't have used this guy. Anyway, so there's this one grift that there's this listener that lives near Tampa that has a boat that wants to show me, he calls it a paradise. With it. I could snorkel with the boys, and it's a hidden gem.
It's a pond behind my house. Goddamn paradise, Tom. You're gonna love it.
Paradise pond.
Yeah, you come on by, and I got pain pills.
He says that it's like a secret snorkeling spot off the West Coast.
Oh yeah, the old
Tom
West.
says there's no secrets left.
Yeah, but in Florida, a West Coast snorkeling spot.
It's rare.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
The closest place to really go snorkeling is Disney. Fake coral, or you have to.
What if it is Disney and this guy's just? What if it is Disney and this guy just found a trail on? You're going to get arrested.
Well,
it's an old Discover Island set.
What I want to do is schedule out something because he's got to show me. I got to follow him in his boat. That's the thing.
That's where it kills you.
Why can't you just drop a pen?
No, because when you're boating, there's a lot of sandbars and stuff that
just go slow.
Yeah, you leave it slow. The crow gets tired of slow.
Yeah, slow.
She is very impatient.
Yeah. And then she's like, go fast. And then
crow like fast.
And then I'm like, I can't go fast. I'm gonna hit a sandbar. And she's like, well, why?
Well, she can fly away. What is she here? He's like,
anyway, then I'm running into a sandbar. Family's trapped out. So what I want to do is figure out some way to plan a trip out to the West Coast, and then this guy meet us out there and then follow him to the secret spot so he can show me.
Yep.
Now, but when you ask someone to do that, it's implied that you're going to hang out with them all day.
It's implied that you will exchange each other's wives.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's always something that hey, you're doing me a favor.
Exactly. The old captain's handshake. You know what that is.
What favor do you want?
Traditionally, the first mates have to sleep on each other's vessels for the night.
Now, usually it's just they just want to hang out. They hang out with Tom Van and
I can't believe that's not
stories.
Uncomfortable for you to hang out with just random people
it's not,
for
it's
hours.
No, it's not uncomfortable at all. Especially if they give me the paradise.
But you get uncomfortable ordering a sandwich, or talking to.
Well, that's a stranger who's not giving me paradise.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's an excellent point.
If you are showing,
it depends on what you're promised.
Yeah. If it's just hey, go small talk with this
now,
guy.
Now, what if it's not a paradise and it's a hellhole? Do you still owe them?
Oh yeah, but that's the curse. That's the curse of being Tom.
And that's why Crystal gets mad.
Yes, because sometimes
now he's trapped in Scaradise.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not a paradise,
and he's too uncomfortable.
More often than not, actually.
Too uncomfortable to leave. He'll just be like, "We have to stay here. I have to fulfill my destiny."
Yes, yeah. Because I can't screw that person over because they did me a favor. So I will repay my debt whichever way I can. But most I can't ever just be like, "Well, this isn't paradise. I'm leaving," or whatever.
You told me paradise. This is disgusting. I'm out of here.
And
I've got a gun.
So that's my next grift. I'm just working out a way to because I can't tell Crystal hey, we're meeting a listener. She's going to show me this paradise. She's going to be.
You got to sell it I have this tour guide that's going to take us out.
I can't. Now she knows my
call the place.
Yeah, she's like, what company?
Yeah, what's the name? I'll look them up. Oh, they're not on the Better Business Bureau.
Because you know why? I relinquished too much responsibility to Crystal. So now, for instance,
if she has too much responsibility, then she can start getting her eyes on everything. She doesn't really dig into the books.
She doesn't trust me to do or plan any of this because she thinks I'll screw it up from years
and
past.
That's weird. Well, no, but you know what's funny is that's your job here at T&D Media. You're a planner.
That's what I tell her.
And you're a professional
She's like,
planner.
no, other people do a lot of the work.
No,
and then
they don't.
And then I'm like, well, they do some of it, but I'm like, I have
you
the
do
overall.
The lion's share.
But then she's like, well, why do all these problems happen? And I'm like, well,
Tony.
How are the batteries at the AT&D?
Yeah, it was all Tony, Eric, Sam, and Dan.
Yeah, everybody else.
Yeah, they ruined it.
But she's like, you just tight a rope walking your way through this, and any small mistake, you're falling off to your death. Walinda.
It is, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but I rarely fall. And then she's like, but you could at any point. I see it, and you scream, and you pull your hair out. Like, oh my God, it's not happening. There's no beer vendors.
Right.
Because she sees me say that, and then I'm like, oh, it's fine. Stuck on a cruise. And then, but she sees all this. She takes it all in and doesn't trust me with planning any sort of paradise cruise.
No paradise plan. Paradise Lost.
Because she thinks that it'll go horribly wrong, which I understand because it has.
Now, has anything ever that she planned, and we'll get to another email here in a second.
Oh, yeah, no.
Well,
has anything she planned ever gone horribly wrong?
That manta ray thing or whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely, but I can't bring it up because she'll get mad about it. So I have to hold my tongue.
She wouldn't I feel like, though, you can't laugh about it. Well, how long before you can make fun of it?
Oh, I make fun of it pretty soon after.
Yeah.
But at little jabs. That's the way to open it. I start kicking open the door.
Yeah.
For full-blown.
Little body blows. Ding, ding, ding.
The other day I screamed, remember when Mom made you get in the ocean and it was freezing? And we said it. But the problem is the boys, because...
She also made Max cry, right?
Oh, yeah. That happened again last night.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, he's too sensitive. We were playing darts in the playroom from
and then she's like,
gambling.
You stink at darts. I hate you.
Oh, my God.
She didn't say that.
We started doing these games where it's...
It's pub night at the Van House. He's teaching them. He's going to teach them all good British boys that learn darts. They learn billiards, snooker. He's going to get some dominoes in there. He's teaching them street games.
We do this thing now where we do a challenge and then we put punishments in a hat and then
so much trauma.
What?
And the trauma hat. Go to the trauma hat and pick out your punishment, you POS.
No, well, the boys write their own punishments and then they fold it up and they put it in a hat. But
my punishment is candy.
No. They're like... We were playing and
thumb in the bum.
The boys are losing, whatever, and then I'm just showing off at this point. Like I'm doing it from the couch because
you're doing like trick shots.
Yeah. But I got
classic dad move.
I got too cocky and I'm trying to do
and had too many white clothes.
Yeah, exactly. It was that last BlackBerry got you in the pants,
and so I lost. So I go around the hat and I pick it up.
See here, what is this one?
And then it was jump in the pool, and this was, by the way, 8:30 at night. Whatever.
Cold in that pool.
Yeah, freezing. And then so I'm like, jump in the pool.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So I had to fulfill my bet and go out there and get in my boxers and jump in the pool.
Did it specify to get in your boxers?
Well, it was either that
should have
or
been nude.
I had to put on. Well, Crystal was videotaping me.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff going on over there, man.
Which I was screaming, don't put this on the internet. And then I jumped in the pool, and then the boys laughed and laughed.
I love it. It's good. Look at you guys. Like
the crying happened
over here, like a YouTube internet. They're doing like the Paul household.
I believe Max at one point got the lowest score, and then
go to the hat.
And then Max,
go to the hat.
And then Max says, "What's the opposite of winner chicken dinner?" And then we were like, loser, pig man snoozer.
Big man snoozer. I almost cursed. That would make me cry too. You're a goddamn animal. You're a vicious animal. You called him loser, big man snoozer. I would be a if you said that to me now, I'd punch you in the face.
Then he stormed off and started crying, and he's like, "Will you call me pig man snoozer?"
Next shirt is loser, pig man snoozer.
And then we're like, "Come on, Max, you were just joking around." No, they were like, we're just joking around. And then,
dude,
and then me and Crystal started laughing, and then Tommy's like, they're laughing at you. We're like, shut up. And then they're laughing at you.
Your family is insane.
No, Max is too sensitive. We said.
I am telling you, I don't say sensitive, as another emotional person. It just means we care about his stuff, right? That's why we get so upset.
We didn't call him that. We just said, what's the opposite?
Well, you said he had the lowest point, so he was a pig man snoozer.
If we were playing darts and if you both started chanting loser, pig man snoozer, I'd
leave.
I'd walk out of this place and I would go find my wife.
That's right.
We were all joking around.
How dare you?
No, because it's not.
At least he's on Team Pigman, which is me. He can be with me. That's all right, Max.
No, he's too sensitive about everything, so he gets to and then
he's competitive like me. Yeah, I would.
He gets
be
emotional
pissed
when he loses. The same thing we're playing poker.
Sorry, that's the best story ever. Because he asked himself, and then he hated the answer.
He did. No, he asked us. He asked it all. He's like,
right, that's what I'm saying. He asked.
Boy. He's like, what's the opposite?
And then he didn't like the answer.
Winner, chicken dinner. And then you guys are like, loser, pig man snoozer.
No, we didn't say it like that.
Double middle finger.
No, that's the way you took it.
But that's the way he took it. You're not understanding that the way I take it's the way he takes it. Because we care. That's why we get upset, because we give a damn.
No, but you gotta understand, we're not calling you that. We're just joking.
Doesn't matter.
We're improving the chicken dinner. It's the opposite. Something along the lines of loser.
I wasn't even there, and I'm offended.
Yeah.
I'm triggered. I'm fully triggered. You. Sam's dead. Loser.
But we're playing a game.
Where did you come with the Pigman part? How did that come up? Loser, Pigman,
Well, because it had to be an animal, and like chicken and pig.
Chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Loser,
I don't know.
Pigman, snoozer. I mean, it makes sense.
Anyway, and like Tommy. He doesn't take the jokes like being offended. He takes them as a joke. Like
Pigman, snoozer, a tired pig.
When I'm fighting with Tommy, I call Tommy Stickbug because he's so lanky.
Yeah. He's a skinny boy.
And then when I'm trying to get him into the bathroom to brush his teeth, and then
get on there,
wait,
brush
you
your
have
teeth.
to wrestle your child to get him to brush his teeth.
Go brush your teeth, Stickman. Pigman's already doing it.
This is a house of craziness.
Pigman, it's your daddy.
It's the monster.
The
monster's going to make you brush your teeth, stick boy.
The naked monster who completely shaves his pubes is here. Where's Stickman, Pigman?
And
jumping in the pool.
So I grab him in a full Nelson, and I'm trying to bring him into the bathroom.
I'm Joe Byrne.
And he puts his feet up to block the door. Stickman feet. His stickbug feet.
Limber.
So then I'm like, quit using the stickbug. So now when he puts his stickbug feet up, we call it the stickbug. And it's his way to defend from going in.
It's what a normal stickbug would do.
I also have to wrestle him into the shower.
Okay, is there anything easy?
And then they started it, and then I have to pull them nude. I have to wrestle their clothes off.
And it's been a good day, guys. I'll see you later.
And then they run around the house nude, and then I'm like, that's it. Yeah. Come on.
I wish somebody would wrestle this.
Everyone's just naked running around at your house.
Yeah, just wrestling each other, calling each other animal names.
They think it's funny.
It's the Lord of the Flies over there.
They think it's funny, and then so then I have to do it because I don't want to get serious.
Wait a minute. We got Stickbug. We got Pigman. We got the Crow.
The monster.
And the monster.
Okay,
yeah. There you go.
It's
a typical
it's
American.
all in fun, though.
I thought you hated fun.
I like it with my sons, and that's the only time. I have fun with them. Although I did feel like when I saw the video, I don't know if you saw the end of my social media post about Fort Wilderness. You could play go to Facebook and look at the last video. It's they're doing Chippendales.
I saw this.
The s'more thing.
The s'more thing.
That made me sad.
What happened?
Look, I'm going to show it to you. Don't try to change how she. I'm just telling you my reaction. I watched this with the sound off. I'm just going to tell you what happened. And I was doing my normal number 2 in the morning. Right. I got the coffee. I'm sitting there, and I'm just scrolling through. I saw it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I was like, cool, that's cool. And then when it panned and it catches you, I'm like, oh.
But why'd you take it aside? I'm not participating in the put your right foot in the whole
circle.
Well,
you're not doing anything. You're literally not with everyone.
Yeah, because everybody was like, let's go do the hokey pokey. And I'm like, I'm just going to sit on the bleachers
over there
and
with
drink
your beer.
No, because then if I walk over there and just stand there, it's worse.
Just stand. Everybody else is just standing there.
No.
There were other people just standing.
Other adults were like half-assed doing the hokey pokey a little bit. I'm like, I don't even want to do the hokey pokey.
Then turn yourself around.
No, I'm just sitting there and let them do the hokey pokey. And I feel like it's a tribute to 80s dads everywhere who would, I take my family here. I'm just not participating in the hokey pokey. That's for millennial dads, which I am. But I want to be.
You're still in there. You always want to be younger.
No, I want to be the older dad generation.
Oh, so you can't pick and choose, man.
Yeah, I want to be in your generation where you don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't even go.
I don't even go over there. I sit in my wheelchair near the campsite. What are you talking about? My wife's like, we're all going to do the hokey pokey. I'm like, get the hell out of here. What do you do? Okay, let me see if I can put this up so everybody can see.
All right.
All right. Hold on here. I gotta.
By the way, I put this video because I wanted people to laugh at it.
It is funny.
But then after I watched it a couple times, I was like, it just kind of looks sad.
No,
it also looks like I'm a grumpy old man that is not participating with his family. But I was like, what's the problem with just sitting on the bleachers while they do the hokey pokey? The kids and the wives do that. And the millennial dads that are out there having fun.
Man, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can get this up. But at least I can show it to Sam. Okay, here you go. This is, you can see that.
Right, yeah, I can see.
This is Tom's Facebook page, and you can see Chippendale there.
All right, Max is...
Yeah, Tommy doesn't want to do anything, but he's over
there, though.
He's standing... He's
clapping a little bit.
Yeah.
Chip smiling face. Doesn't Chip look extra happy tonight? Yeah.
I told you.
He's back in the shadows. What's on your head? You got a do-rag on?
Yeah, he's got a do-rag. It's like you got Snoop Dogg sitting in the corner. Snoop Dogg's too cool to play.
What the hell did I just look at? There's some creepy old man in the back of the shadows with a do-rag on.
Literally, Nipsey Hussle's over in the corner with a double
headband.
Yeah, God, you're surrounded by White Claws. And he's like, I ain't going over there. It was sad. I thought it was sad. You can find that. I'll try and put it up later so people can see it.
It's on my Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, go to Tom's Facebook and Instagram and check it out.
I was only one by myself. It used to be there were more dads that hung back and just, drank in the background in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
And now every dad is up there doing the hokey pokey.
Dads are softer now.
Yeah, and they're all doing it, and they're like, oh, my kids want me to do the hokey pokey. Like, I do a lot for my sons. I play with them every day, do all this stuff.
You do.
So it's like, I don't want to do
sit this one out.
I want to sit the hokey pokey out. I'm not into it.
I'm a dying breed,
I'll play Monster with you later. No hokey pokey.
I am a dying breed. Like when I go to these dance things for May, and I'm in the back, and I roll up with cooler and chair. And the dads are like, we missed you at the practice. I'm like, the practice for what the dads are doing? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm just over here. I just have the chair. I got I got some ice cold drinks. I'm there to support my daughter. I don't even know anything.
That's all you need to do. That's all the kids care. They're not going to say, oh, my dad wasn't doing the hokey. They'll never remember that. I took them there. That's good enough. I promise.
It is.
Was
Was it the animals, though, in the costumes? Because that took it over the edge. If there had been no animals in costumes dancing, would you have at least walked over? Because I felt like as soon as I saw the animals, I'm like, he ain't going to be there. He ain't going to be there.
Oh, me and Trav are going to hokey pokey our little hearts out in January.
Send him a video.
It must be confusing to them because they're like, my dad just wanted to sit back and drink, but there's this parachute thing.
Right.
Like, I've seen that. It's weird.
It's contradictory.
You could lie to them and say, like, I've done enough of that, guys. I'm going to sit this one out because I used to do that professionally. And they'd believe it. They'd be like, we get it, Dad.
That's even more embarrassing. Saying you did it professionally.
You were a real pigman? Yes, son.
All right.
Snoozer, pig man, loser.
We got to get out of here. All right. Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So we've got a comedian that's going to be at the Improv November 25th. 2 shows on Friday, November 25th. 2 shows on Saturday, November 26th. And she's got a super fascinating story that we interviewed a lot of comedians on this show.
Yeah, we do.
And I think Zarna has the most interesting background that I've read so far.
Absolutely. And we're going to have her tell us all about it. Joining us via the magic of Zoom is Zarna Garg. How are you, Zara?
Hi, namaste. Thank you so much for having me. You guys are so amazing.
And I apologize. I called you Zara the second time and Zarna the first
you missed
time.
The end the second
but it's important. Now, I got to be on record. It's important that we are upfront and honest when we make mistakes because I know Tom would give me the business if I didn't call that out. So I have to call that out. I messed up the name this time.
So,
I didn't even catch it, if that helps you.
Well, so Zarna, tell us about how you started, because I'm reading your bio, and it is super interesting, and I don't feel like we see a lot of stand-up comedians at least come through the Improv with a backstory like yours. So tell us how it all started.
Well, I mean, listen, I started the way all normal Indian women do, dreaming about a career in stand-up comedy. This is the Indian woman's dream. Not. Absolutely not.
Right.
I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom for 16 years with 3 kids. And I was really struggling to figure out what my next act would be. I'm a licensed lawyer in New York. And I couldn't have gone back to practice law because I was really bad at it. I learned early on, like when you're bad at something, like just no.
You went through law school. I can't imagine
how bad could you be?
But you're smart, obviously. I mean, you're a hustler, you're a grinder. Look at what you're doing now. So did you enjoy law? I mean, how does one know that? I mean,
I enjoyed it, but I don't think my clients did.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would take my own client to the judge and I would be like, Your Honor, my client has robbed the liquor store.
He's going to tell you straight up, yeah.
And the judge himself would be like, do you know you're the defense attorney? I was like, but you and I both know he did it.
Right. I'm an honest woman. Yeah, I got to tell the truth.
So after a few times of that, even the judge was like, maybe you want to do something else. So I decided to stay home. I was stay at home with my kids. I was supporting my husband for 16 years. And I'll tell you this, 16 years of being home with my kids full time, I learned something. I'm not that into them.
Well, it's a tough job, Zarna. So
it is tough. It's boring. It is. Am I allowed to say it? Am I allowed to be that honest on your show?
Oh yeah. We talk about our kids and how much we hate them all the time.
I don't have them because I hate them.
I put it on Twitter.
Listen, you have found the right person in aligning with right now, because I don't just, I mean, the thing is that somebody recently asked me, how are your kids? I'm like, expensive.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I know for sure is that they're expensive.
So, Zarna, I'm curious though, like when you're staying at home, you're at home, stay-at-home mom for 16 years. Did you, while you were doing, like you talked about earlier, you fantasized about being a stand-up. Did you write a lot there? Did you practice? Like, did you?
Not at all. Nothing. I had no fantasy about being a stand-up. I had no idea this was a job. My kids, who are born and raised in America, I'm an immigrant. I came to America about 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But I was born and raised in India. But my kids are born and raised in America. They're all American. They watch me struggle and they're like, Mom, just become a stand-up comedian. And I was like, that's not a job.
Right. Yeah. That's what most
It's
people.
also interesting because most of the time you hear people say that their kids don't think that they're funny, right? So for your own kids to think you're funny enough to be a stand-up, that's interesting.
They must have recognized something, Zarna, because their
friends love hanging out at my house. I'm constantly yelling at the kids about something, and it's always funny. It's made with a lighter touch. I'm like, what are you studying? What's your report card? No one's going on any dates on my watch. So my kids actually, then the three of them ganged up on me, and they're like, I believe, honestly, in hindsight now, I believe they did all of this just to get me out of the house on nights and weekends.
Yeah, because that's when most of the time you're going to do it.
Because I think they were like, if we can succeed at this, she's going to be out every minute we're home.
Well, okay, let's move to that part, Zarna, because we all know becoming a stand-up is, going back to the grind, that is the ultimate grind.
It's very difficult.
And that doesn't even ensure that of any success. You could grind it out for 20 years and do every open mic you can, and that doesn't guarantee anything. So there's talent, there's perseverance, a lot of that. So where do you even start, and then where do you start gaining traction?
Well, you start like all normal comics in the basement of a Mexican restaurant, which is where I started. Somebody told me there was an open mic and I showed up there and I didn't know what to do. I'd never even watched a show, let alone considered myself doing it. But because my kids challenged me, 16 years, I'm like, you should try something new. You should try something new. Now they were like, oh, Mom's too scared to try something new. And so I showed up at this open mic and, I asked the booker, the lady running it, I said, what do I do? I'm here now. And she said, go up on stage and just talk for 5 minutes, whatever you think is funny. So I went up there and I did what I love to do, trash my mother-in-law.
There you go.
So you didn't have any material? You were just like improv, basically?
I didn't even know what material was. I got up there and I looked around and I was like, white people do this?
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah, and make a lot of money.
This is a job?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Like, what? My mind was blown. I was like, this is what? So I just, I went all out. My mother-in-law, whatever. And the audience, the other comics, they had so much fun. I came off the stage and the lady who ran it, she said, you're so funny, but you don't have jokes. So I came home and I did what I always do is immediately Google what is a joke.
That's what we do. I've been doing it all morning.
Yes.
But what's funny is that are there a lot of have you gone back and ever tried to do the same style of comedy that you sort of cut out and made here that's successful? Have you ever gone back and tried to do it in India, or would it not translate culturally? Where does comedy stand? Like, if we lived in India, is there a comedy scene? Is there a
stand-up scene?
It's very new. It's mostly for the men because they don't listen. think of what a woman comedian is going to make fun of. Her husband, her kids, like a married woman like me.
And that's a no-no.
Can you imagine? Indian men are the most fragile. They have more fragile egos than like even... Oh my God, Putin and Trump, step aside. Bring the Indian nerdy guy out.
So it wouldn't, like, your brand of do you ever get backlash from Indian men?
All the time. I get hate all the time because who do you think you are? You become American now, but wait till you come to, they threaten me. Wait till you come to India. I'm not, I'm happy to Zoom.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, let's be honest. I mean, I guess, when you're saying things that aren't popular and when you're not in power, you can get yourself into trouble. But exactly. I also think there is a level of bravery to what you do because, I was watching you all morning and all of us here were watching different clips of you, and some of the things you say, I mean, in other places of the world could be very dangerous to say. And I think it's very brave to do that, and it maybe shed some light on culturally how women just don't get the same shake.
Oh, 100%. But I mean, I'm not brave. I just want to be honest. I'm pretty desperate. I didn't know. I honestly, when you're a stay-at-home mom for as long as I was, and you're living under the mountain of diapers and formula and baby stuff, when you come out of that, you think that everybody is doing this and you're new to it.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. There's a fine line between bravery and being desperate. It's like
there are similarities.
Desperation.
I mean, as much as that is a joke, that's not a joke.
So, Zarna, I'm curious too because you have a gigantic social media following. You got 100 million views plus on TikTok.
Go look her up. Go follow her, and also look at the amount of awards and accolades that she's received over the years.
So, when did that start? I'm curious too how that started blowing up, and what did your kids think about that when you started blowing up on social media?
So I started my career in New York City. I live in Manhattan. I've raised my kids here. And everything was going amazing. The big clubs were all backing me. I got my big Caroline's headlining show sold out in a day. Everything was good. And then the pandemic happened.
Right.
I had worked so hard and I was like, oh my God, my mother-in-law is striking again. I literally blamed the whole global pandemic on her. I was like, she will go to any lengths to shut me up.
I love it.
So I was really upset, and I was, sitting around with my kids, and my then 14-year-old son said to me, Mom, I think you should put your jokes on TikTok. And I was like, what's TikTok? Back then we thought it was 14-year-old girls twerking. That's all they did.
Yeah. That's how it was marketed. Yeah.
That's why I was there.
No one knew. But my son's like, no, Mom, like I'm telling you, if you put your jokes, I said, you know what? You do it. He took some of my jokes, edited them very roughly.
Awesome.
And he put them up. And I just want to say in this moment right now, as a mother, I'll tell you, #believe in child labor. Sometimes put the kids to work. They know what they're doing. I was like, do it, guys. They were home for the pandemic anyway. And overnight, I had a few million views. Now, when you don't know anything, you think, oh, TikTok is like one of those countries where everything starts at 1 million. One of those countries where one loaf of bread is 1 million units of whatever their currency.
Yeah. You're like 8,000 pesos.
Oh, it's like that.
Yeah.
And my son is like, no, Mom. Like, and then he showed me his account. He's like, I have 20 views.
Mom shut him down.
Yeah, Mama just dunked on him.
So that started a journey. And what happened is that I do a whole bit about how I've never said I love you to my husband. And I haven't. And like, we love it. We like each other. Okay, let's just start with like. We like each other. It's only been 23 years. We're figuring it out. And that joke resonated with people all over the world. Sure. Because when you live in America and you're like, you watch American pop culture, you assume everybody is always saying, I love you all the time to people.
Oh, yeah.
And that joke just popped open this whole can of worms about how different we are, but also how similar we are.
We are, yes.
In other ways.
And
it kind of launched my whole TikTok
journey. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Do you enjoy it? I mean, now that you are doing it, there's a difference in being successful at it and actually enjoying it. Yeah, I find that I'm not, it's a chore for me and I got to remind myself. Are you getting better at it? Do you enjoy it?
First of all, Dan, I don't believe that because I can see the smile. Like, that's not a man who is like dealing with this job as a chore.
Well, I love this job, but social media is hard, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a grind.
Media, well, but look, like all successful people, I am too drugged out.
Yes.
I lean on a lot of drugs. That's what they're there for. Yeah, I love it because it brings me in direct one-to-one contact with my audience. Because I'll be honest with you, the gatekeepers of this industry don't really care to support somebody like me.
Right.
That's just a fact. I have auditioned for roles where I've crushed everything, every festival audition. I've crushed it all, and I don't get invited.
Right.
It's just what it is.
And it was for like an Indian woman, right? And then they're like, it's like sometimes there are things like that where it's like it's just like you can't, like you said. I'm glad you brought up the gatekeeping aspect to the business and stuff like that because a lot of people deal with that.
Yeah. Oh, everybody did. And now I tell every comic that I know, I don't deal with them. I deal with the clubs because the clubs want to do business. And I'm here to do business. Yeah. They know that my audience comes out in big numbers. Wherever I go, I sell out because my audience knows me one-on-one. When they see me, they think they're seeing their aunt, their neighbor, their mother, their friend. And thank God for social media because otherwise I would never have this career. It's a fact. Like the late night shows, you think they're going to put this on?
Right. No. Well, they should, though, if they want to stay alive. I mean, that would be my answer to them.
Yeah. But they're finding out, like, they're not happy with the social media crowd. You know what I mean? Yeah. They don't love that social media people exist.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of tension there. So, but I use social media and I don't overthink it. It's exhausting, but it's easier if you're not overthinking every move. Just put yourself out there. Just what your honest, authentic, raw self is, just put it out there and trust that the person who's going to connect with you will connect with you and find you.
I love that.
As long as it's real, right? It's like if it's real, people will recognize it's real.
Like this connection, like I'm really vibing with you, and I think everybody here likes you because you are so real. Like I don't know where you're at, but I'm just going to get even more real. And for those of you just listening and not watching, you got plants in the background, and Tom, tell me you're not staring at her plants like crazy because this guy is a plant man. He does. He's grafting them. He's taking the seedlings and putting them in the beaker. And are you a plant lady as well?
I'm not a plant lady except for my Zoom background.
That's a great answer.
Sarna,
That's a great answer.
We noticed that your show is all ages. And,
I love that. Oh, God, I'm glad you brought this up, Tom.
And I'm
well, one of the shows, not all four. I fought them enough to get one all ages.
That's cool, though. So do you have to fight the club sometime to say, like, hey, no, I can do an all ages gig?
I can do it. It's not me doing it. That's the issue.
Right.
You know why the clubs don't want to make it all ages? You know that.
The drinks.
Yeah, the drinks.
Yeah.
It's the drinks. Yeah. So as a mother of 3 kids, especially teenagers, there's no reason why teenagers cannot be in my show. There's no reason why families cannot come together. And I fight the clubs everywhere I go. I go, let the family. When's the last time people have gone out and laughed with their kids, laughed out loud at a live event?
I've never laughed with my family. I might have to come see you and bring the. I love what you're doing though because again, Tom is a big fan and I am too. Yeah. But like I know you love it when people are absolutely doing something that's never been done. I don't see many Indian ladies rolling through town and doing an all ages comedy show. That is a rarity.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one of my kind on this whole planet Earth. But it happened by accident. I didn't know that I was blazing a trail. People tell me now you're a trailblazer and all. I'm like, no. I am not blazing anything. I have no dreams. Martin Luther King had a dream. I have bills.
Right.
This is desperation.
This is the desperation business.
This is realizing how expensive 3 kids are after you gave birth to them.
In New York.
So, Zarna, I want to ask you because I read in your bio and you grew grew up tough, right? In India.
You had to do some stuff.
And so, I'm curious because I talked to other stand-ups that had a tough upbringing, and it made them a tough person.
Shaped them.
And it shaped them into the perfect comedian because they can handle anything. They can handle bad rooms. They can handle bad clubs.
People
they can
not
handle,
laughing at you is the least of your worries.
Yeah. They're just tough individuals, and I feel like your upbringing made you tough, but then your kids are now growing up in the United States, I imagine, because of your success, an easier life. And do you find it like... How is that? Because I'm constantly searching, because I have two sons, 7 and 8, ways to make them tougher in a life that I've created for them that's pretty easy. And so it's hard to manufacture, like adversity, right? Because it's like they have AC, they have a good life, good schools.
TV, iPad.
They don't have any, they don't go through that much adversity. So you have to manufacture it. I'm curious to what is your take on that and making your kids as tough as you?
Well, first of all, Tom, congratulations. 2 sons, amazing. Thank God. You know what I mean? You could have been stuck with a girl, and like, what would be the purpose?
Yeah, I got the girl. Oh, man.
You got the girl.
Daniel's got the girl.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she twists me up, man. I mean,
yeah. Oh, they work. I know how the girls work. So I hear your question, and I make jokes about it. Like half my set is making jokes about the soft American kids.
Okay, all right,
I gotta go to this.
Oh, my kids are so soft, Zarna. I mean, they're
you should come
marshmallows.
live with him for a week. You'll have so much material.
It's almost like they're as soft as a snowflake. That's a good analogy. Write that down, Sam. All right,
I mean, they probably are. My kids, they're so woke. You would think they all came from Brooklyn. Everything I say is offensive. It's wrong. It's racist. I'm like, if I just mention a race, like, oh my God, my mom, you stop. So it's a problem, Tom. I don't think there's an easy answer. The hard and real answer is that in order to teach these kids, you have to live that austere life yourself. Like, you have to give up your AC and you have to give up your Starbucks and all of that, and that's not happening.
Yeah,
So
I mean, this guy gets a smoothie. He gets a smoothie every day made by a teen boy.
Yeah, you can see that's the problem. The hard answer is that we should be making our own smoothie and growing our own whatever. Yeah. But that's not happening. So we're just gonna like medicate them and hope for the best.
Wow, man! Oh my God! Mic drop again.
It's almost impossible because Zarna, you did grow up rough, right? I mean, you had a rough childhood, right?
Yes, I did. I mean, life, it's rough in American context. Most people in India will be like, okay, this is life in India. Right. My mom passed away suddenly when I was just about 15. And my dad decided the next day that, you need to get married. Like he literally said to me, I was the youngest of 4 kids. And he literally said to me, I'm done parenting.
After your mom died, the one day later.
Get over it.
I mean,
grow up.
This is called the Andrea Dennis story.
Inside his heart, like honestly, I think he broke too because his wife passed suddenly. But I will tell you this: that if I had a 4th kid myself, I would probably throw them out of the window during the pandemic.
It's an honest answer.
I get it. I get the frustration. Like when you become a parent, you realize how hard that journey is. And I was the 4th. I think my dad was just like, I can't take this anymore. And I do somehow understand and relate.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, but because of that, you had to learn how to hustle. Yeah. And I feel like that all played into the fact that when you decided, hey, I'm going to take a shot at being a stand-up, that the work ethic it took to become a successful stand-up came naturally to you. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I mean, I love to work. So that's just whatever I do. It doesn't matter as a stand-up, as a mom or whatever. Like, also, I was a mom for so long. With what nights and weekends and all, we worked throughout. Any mom will tell you there's no downtime ever. So I was kind of used to grinding at that level. And then once I realized, oh my God, this means I can be out for hours and I can be drinking.
It's the you'll throw these little things in there. I'm being all serious. I'm not. You throw these tiny little things in there, then slap me in the face.
I mean, the early shows, you get paid in drinks. I was like, I'm in. I don't even need the money. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's do this. This is different.
Now, Zarna, I'm going to ask you one last question that we've asked a lot of comedians that come in here, and I'm curious that if you've had.
I bet she is this the classic question.
This is the classic private gig question. As the comedians get popular and get more success, they usually get asked to do a private gig somewhere for a rich person or a corporation or something like that, and then sometimes it turns out to be horrible.
Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's a nightmare.
It's weird. Have you have any stories like that about getting hired for a private gig?
Oh, all the time. I get hired for the craziest gigs. I recently got hired to do a family event, like a large family was getting together in one city, and it was like 300, 400 people that had flown in from all over the place.
That's a lot.
The event itself sounded fine, except the guy who organized it was a billionaire, so it was his event, and all his wives were going to be there.
Hold on. So
all his multiple different kids, with all their extended in-laws and so the mandate was, feel free to pick on all of them. I was like, how many are there, first of all?
Hold on. You did a billionaire's family reunion with his multiple wives and their families? That's weird.
I mean, it was absolutely crazy, but we had the best time. Because you know what? Guess what? Everybody was scared of him. And I was like, he asked me to do this, so let's go.
You're kind of bulletproof at that point. And, the only word that I heard that I neneeded to hear was billionaire. And then I'm like, well, sign her up. She's in desperation mode.
Were you allowed to make fun of him?
Oh, he said, make fun of me. But I knew to be very careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're smart.
It's like all the fun had to be extremely structured and make sure that we don't get it wrong. Because, I do not want to be on his bad side. Maybe, I listen, maybe he needs a new wife in another 2-3 years.
Yeah. You can hang up the old comedy. That's
you know what I mean? So I was very careful, but I got the job done, as I always do.
I love it.
Zarna, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
And being so candid and sharing about kind of your journey, because I know we had limited time, but man, we were excited to talk to you because your story is just so truly unique, and we're excited to have you in town in a couple of weeks. Again, guys, 2 shows Friday, November 25th, 2 shows Saturday, November 26th. And what's your social media if people want to reach out to you? Because I know there are going to be people in our audience that want to connect.
Absolutely. I'm at Zarna Garg, ZARNAGARG, on all major platforms, including OnlyFans and Be Real.
All right. I love it.
Last question, Zarna.
Nope.
How many hosts...
he said that twice.
Sorry. How many hosts of like open mics made fun of your name? Because I'm sure it happened every night for the first 5 years of your career, where every host is like, "What?" Because that like Zarna. Like, how tired of it did you get?
It's fine. Listen, this is the thing. And if you come to my show, you'll realize the immigrants are less upset about it than people realize. It's usually the Americans who get more worked up on our behalf. People can mess up my name. They're calling me on stage. They're giving me a moment. I don't get caught up in the other side stuff. Often people refer to me as Greg. I'm fine.
Well, that's because you're tough, Zarna, and I respect your toughness.
And tough people, they only sweat the things that need to be,
What do you care?
Yeah, who has the energy to? People are excited to see me. They're excited to bring me up. I'm not going to get hung up on the name. My own parents messed my name up. It's a whole long story. You can hear about it at the jokes.
There you go.
I'm not holding it against anybody. Yeah.
Well,
but you guys, this has been the funnest show. I've done so many radio shows. This is the funnest show ever.
Oh, thank you very much.
We'd love to have you back. And when you're in town, maybe sometime, we'd love to have you in person. Come in here and chop it up a little bit more, okay?
Please, I would love to do that.
We'll see you soon. And thanks again, Zarna.
Namaste, guys.
Namaste.
Have a nice day.
See ya. I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
It means like, I don't know.
I just, she's like, namaste, I didn't want to look stupid. And I like how you came in like, you what? Hell no, you don't know what it means.
It's like mahalo in Hawaiian.
Yeah, it's just a greeting.
Yeah, she's like, namaste.
Aloha.
Like,
It's like aloha.
Namaste to you.
Yeah.
She was great.
She was
Yeah.
great.
It took her a second to warm up. She was like, do I need to? I feel it.
She's
She's
like, I don't know about
do I
these
need to
guys.
burn some bits? So she threw a bit out there, and then she's like, wait a minute.
I can just hang out.
I
yeah.
can just hang out. And then she hung out.
I love stories like that because it's
She's great.
It's non-traditional, and I guess you would put her in the category of like social media comedian. Like that's what blew her up. But
she's also
Sounds
had.
like she was doing some open mics beforehand, though.
But she's
so.
also
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to
yeah.
grind.
Well,
know.
what I say by that is like yes, and I think a lot of social media comedians like do open mics to learn and stuff and grind, but they get popular at a more accelerated rate because of social media. So
Right.
it's like
in front of more faces.
They're
yeah.
grinding out,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they got 1 million followers in a year, and you're like, oh, well, that would have taken someone 10 years to do,
a decade.
Traditionally.
Yeah, I was thinking and writing down other questions, but we're running out of time to talk to her. But I was sitting there thinking, like, if you are an Indian comedian, you would think that you would be wide open to an Indian audience of billions, right? But unfortunately, because you're taking on men and it's not exactly what they want to
yeah.
hear, I don't know if you benefit from that as much as I would like to think you do.
Not in India, but you do here.
You do here.
There's a lot of, obviously you got, different nationalities everywhere. It's like the one comedian that sells out the...
Russell Peters.
Russell Peters, yeah. Like, because of his background, he just attracts, certain groups of different people that just relate to him more.
Like,
and
I'm always fascinated with the
so
thought
it could
of...
be a benefit.
Is there a Chinese comedian somewhere that's so well known in China? Like, let's say he's purely clean based on cultural reasons or whatever. He's not Dave Chappelle. I'm just saying he does straight up Chinese, not Chinese American. He does Chinese comedy and they love him. Obviously in China, he could put 1 billion people in a stadium or something, if it were possible. When he comes to America, does he benefit at all from any of that?
I'm sure, yeah, because...
he does, right?
Yeah, the Chinese people here would hear about him through the
but
relatives.
If he changed his act to reflect the atrocities that he thought he saw within Chinese government or culture, he'd benefit more here, obviously, than he would in China.
Yeah, then he couldn't go back to,
Correct.
You have to change the material based on the culture.
That's the thing I'm fascinated with, is the fact that what she's doing in some ways could be kind of labeled dangerous, right?
Yeah, well, I guess if she went back and tried to do the same stuff, which she probably wouldn't, because then it's a different.
I don't think you can.
Culture. Also, like, there's a thing with like comedy, I feel, where you have to say things that people like are not used to saying, or like they say things that shouldn't be said out loud.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
And I feel like if you tried to do the stereotypical like socialism, like dictatorship comedy that you could, you know what I'm saying? Like that was state approved. Just like people, they'd fake laugh, but I don't think they really generally laugh, right? Because
That's pretty good.
It's like the fake criers.
I do that a lot here. No,
just kidding. You hear the stories, and I don't know if they're real, but about like dictators hiring the criers to come cry in the streets.
That's real.
That's real.
Yeah, I don't know how like prevalent it is. If it's just like a couple dozen of people, how many people?
I mean, in my mind, I'd like to think it's happened a couple times. I don't want to think this happens all the time.
So, but that's not real. So then, what is it? It's like it's all just some facade or whatever.
It's propaganda at that point.
Anyway, I love stories like that. All right, let's take a quick break.
We don't have to. I mean, we can keep power through.
Yeah, let's power through.
I got. You had emails. Could throw us another one of those emails before they pile up too much. Again, if you'd like to shoot the show an email, show@tomandan.com. And I'll take this time to tell you that we stream every single day, and we'd love to have you join us. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/TomandDanLive. Or you can also find our YouTube channel. Just search @TomandDanLive. YouTube has gone to this deal now where, just like every other social media, if you own the @ and then whatever the name is, that's your handle. And ours is @TomandDanLive. So I had to do that yesterday because it looks like they're about to roll that out and make it so you can, I don't know, everything morphing into one big like electricity blob.
All right, this is an awkward post office chirp. Hello, show. This is Fresh Gardenias from Twitch. Yep, just did an internet handle shout out, but I'm also known as Mike B's wife. I had an awkward chirp encounter while wearing a Tom and Dan t-shirt. On a recent show, you talked about the t-shirt ideas received when you were creating your Sam shirt. All the love and appreciation to Sam. She's the best. Happy the Rosie the Riveter style was chosen after hearing about what was suggested. Part of my job includes dropping mail off at the post office daily. I avoid all potential chirping whenever I go because other humans are the worst.
Oh, I love chirping at the post office.
And I only talk to the postal workers I see regularly. The other day, I was walking into a mostly empty post office with one person walking out. I was carrying a large bin full of mail, so both of my hands were full. As I pass this person, he points to my shirt and he says, "I like your shirt." I smile and respond, "Thanks." As he passes me, I ask if he is a BDM to touch tips. He obviously doesn't understand the code I just spoke, and he just says, "Oh, my girlfriend likes the girl on your shirt." I pause a bit confused, and then I ask him if he's talking about semantics, Sam. And I immediately regret speaking up.
No, yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're doing a Tom.
Yeah.
I blurt out, "Oh, Rosie the Riveter." I then promptly turn around and feel like a fool. This kid did not know who Rosie the Riveter was. All hope is lost.
Hey, is that Avril Lavigne?
The girl, the American girl that went to work.
My girlfriend likes that girl.
Yeah, my girlfriend likes who's that? Kamala Harris? I like her.
I like your shirt, and then said, "My girlfriend likes the girl on your shirt."
Hillary, lock her up.
Yeah. And then it's like
Spice Girls, girl power, whatever.
And then when you say Rosie the Riveter, because that's who the art is depicting.
He thought you were crazy.
Right.
Then you're like, I don't know.
He's like, Rosie the Riveter. That was a robot on the Jetsons.
Touch tips. What are you talking about?
It's like that old Mitch Hedberg joke.
I'd call the cops if you saw me at the post office, told me to touch your tips. I'd call the cops.
Excuse me.
It's the old
touching man.
Mitch Hedberg. That tree is really far away, which is you say something a bunch of times, and the person's like, "What? What is it?" And then you're yelling that tree. You're yelling something insignificant that doesn't need to even be. It's like when someone says "nice shirt," you say "thank you," and you keep going. Yeah. So that is actually on her. I feel like because she kept that going and she didn't need to.
Most of the people I went to the post office today. Most of the people I see in the post office are cleaning man, who always talks about how we are the only two men in Orlando that wear ankle height socks. He makes a point of saying it to me, and I say it back to him. I'm like, "I like your socks." He's like, "I like your socks, dog." And then also, I talk to the mail ladies, and then every person at the post office is an old woman. Yeah, old women love, old ladies, old gray-haired, straight gray-haired ladies.
See, being a non-chirper, I've learned certain things and what not to say to start a conversation. And one being, people ask me what I do for a living. I do no longer, I say radio or podcaster. I say own a small media company. And
that's too...
Well, because no one asked.
What is it? Which one? A small media company? Oh, my God. What do you own? You own Netflix?
No.
What do you own? You got Hulu? Your Hulu. That's smaller.
No, when you say small media company and then they look at your shorts and your sandals, they know it's not anything interesting. Yeah. They know they in fact, they think it's a lie and then don't want to ask you about it. So
wait a minute. Are you the dad from Bareback Films on the X videos? That's Titusville. Titusville's finest.
If you say you work in radio or podcasting, it always comes with a follow-up question. They always ask you more about it. They're fascinated.
Or they go,
hold on, let me freak everybody out. Can you guys be quiet for just 2 seconds? I'll freak everybody out listening. Ready? Hey, you want to find the best weed in Sanford, Florida? That's all I had to say. Now there's 1,000 men right now scrambling, shutting their laptops.
I realized I emailed a younger person the other day.
What does that mean? Hold on.
Dearest team, it is your pen pal,
Hello,
Thomas.
young chap.
And I was trying to set up a go-to or some segment.
Why you're trying to set up a go-to with a young person?
And then I explained...
Why don't you take a seat?
That's called an encounter.
I explained to them that this was going to be free publicity for their business on the radio, and that did not mean anything.
That didn't move the needle at all.
Radio?
They didn't even email me back. Which,
at this point, I feel like email's old, right?
Yeah, text. Everybody wants you to text them.
You got to Instagram them, or you got to hit them in the DMs. And email is, oh my God, we just discovered it. Email is for old people.
Yeah. I prefer it. I can keep track of it better.
Yeah, and I can print it out.
Like free
Brent!
Okay,
As I read my paper emails.
this is an old man thing because free publicity.
Hey, you want to find the best weed? I'm sorry.
Yeah, free publicity is nothing now because everyone has the internet.
Yes.
Just follow my handle, yeah.
I wanted to interview some like gamblers that do
Young
podcasts.
people, baby gamblers.
Young gamblers.
These
I
are
want to
older.
interview baby gamblers.
Like this guy I'm mentioning was like in his early 30s or whatever, but I hit him up on Twitter or whatever, like in like a messenger, and I said like, hey, do you want to do an interview on the show? This is a while back in the pandemic when we were looking for like different interviews and whatever.
We got to do more of these quarantine cribs because oh my God, what are we going to do? The world is ending.
Thinking that for sure, and this guy is not a super, like, I understand I'm not trying to reach out to Colin Cowherd or something. You know, this person's very small.
Was it Cowhead?
No. This person would essentially, to my knowledge, need the promotion. He's up and coming, right? So he's got smaller followers than I do, right? So I would think that he'd jump at the opportunity to ghost me.
Yeah.
And I don't think they care anymore. And I don't think it even moves the needle like it would to me, where someone like that had more followers than me asked like, can I do it now? I'm like, yes! Like, this is free. Like, you're giving me free money at this point.
Yeah, that's why most podcasts are never going to get celebrities on them again, because they don't move the needle for celebrities.
Right. They have their own podcast.
Yeah, the only reason the celebrity is going to be on the podcast is if A, that's their best friend or a really good friend or someone close.
Or you're a celebrity,
or
too.
B, you're a celebrity.
Or you're a grinder like Zarna that just does it all and justifies it like, whatever, it's 25 minutes of my time. I'll fit it in my schedule, and this can incrementally help me a little bit, and that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah, maybe in a market that
but
people
she
don't
had
know
to persevere. Yeah. We didn't have to do any of that. We have to invent a really tragic origin tale. Because that's not stolen valor. We need to invent a real... We had one. We had us leaving radio.
Yeah, but that's old.
Now we're rich. I'm driving a Tesla around. He's driving me around drunk. I got a Tesla driving me around drunk around town.
I'm trying to grift a goddamn golf cart.
Yeah, this mother effer's in Hawaii with his family taking pictures of the things, the waterfalls.
I contemplated not putting the pictures. I'm like, well, no one's going to want to help us now.
I told you I didn't want to talk about my Tesla, but here it is.
Well, that's the only thing we talk about is our real life. So what the hell? Now we're
fake
rich.
it till you make it.
Yeah.
So, can we fake it being poor again?
No,
it's already out there.
We're going to have to lie. No, we're going to delete those shows.
Yeah, well, no,
we'll just give them the solid 159. We'll just do the 159 again.
Or what if we have some backstory how we get poor? Like, and then,
get poor. The Tom and Dan story.
Like something went wrong.
Oh, it's going wrong right now. We're writing.
But that's getting poor slowly.
On brand.
No, but like real fast, real poor, like living on the streets. Like, can we manufacture me and you live under a bridge, and we're like, well, this is what happened now.
Look at us.
Our families left us.
You know that guy that sells the fake weed in San Francisco? That guy?
He's my boss.
Daniel tried to massage his shoulders for $3 the other night. Because that's how desperate we are. Daniel wanted some, Delta 9, Delta 8. He wanted some of the fake weed. Daniel wanted some so bad he gave that man a back rub for $3.
It's in jars. It's like real weed. What is it?
What is it? Hey, you want the best weed? It ain't that right, Allie? That's my favorite part. When he says, ain't that right, Allie? And he looks at her and she's like, why? Don't say my name on there.
Can you call Delta 9 weed?
They're selling it. He says it's the best weed in Central Florida. And then he goes, ain't that right, Allie? And that means they're both liars. If it's not the best.
But people tell me it gets you high. So
everybody that I know that smokes Delta 9 says it's better than regular weed, and I'm like, well, hold on a second. That's not the way this is supposed to work. I'm going through the government.
But they do say, they're like, it gets me high. I had a conversation in a parking garage about it.
Is that guy lying? Is Allie lying?
I believe the guy.
I believe my mom.
And have you seen the updated commercial where he's in the grow house? Yeah, I watch a lot of porn. And this guy, he's got an updated commercial, and he walks through, and he's like, it's a little different. He's like, hey, the best weed guy. He's like that. It's like a callback.
Well, now he's got
like, hey, look at my farm. I'm rich. I'm so rich. Look how many Teslas I got. And I'm like, this guy's killing it.
And he's selling just...
And Allie's gone. No Allie of this one. I'm like, oh, man, he got so big, he fired Allie.
And the Sanford cops let you do it.
They don't give you any crap.
You get a whole store of weed.
Yeah,
I thought it was you had to get all these permits.
And he tells me, he's like, you don't even need a card. Ain't that right, Allie? I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, you can buy them at gas stations.
I'm like, DeSantis, look at you.
DeSantis.
I know DeSantis, and I don't think he'd let you do that. if I know him the way,
and he for sure saw your commercial.
Exactly. I know he saw your commercial. He probably saw it. He was in there chewing his teeth, mad at Disney, mad. How can I get Disney?
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back to Corporate Time. So we have Aaron from the Orange County Library System on the line to tell us about their 100-year celebration. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
Great.
It's always good to talk to you. And I was kind of thumbing through the notes here and seeing that. Now, was this the first library that we had? Like, how are we? Okay, I'm messing that all up. I'm getting it all clunky. It's 100 years of our library system, but which actual building is the 100-year-old library?
So the building downtown is the spot of the very first library that was in Orlando. It was called the Albertson Public Library. It opened in 1923, and it was at the corner of Roslyn and Central. And when they built the building that's there now, they tore down the old one, sadly, and put the brutalist modern library building that you see today on the same site.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, to think about 100 years.
It's nuts.
It's an insane long period of time, but also in the grand scheme of things, so short.
Well, you say that in my wife's, Andrea, her grandfather is 99. So I get the opportunity to talk, and he's just as sharp as he was the first day. You know, he's all there mentally and physically. He's great. So I get the
that's
luxury.
Insane, by the way. Because I'm 40 and I'm not all there mentally.
I know. Aaron knows. Look at her. She's like, I know what you're thinking, Aaron. You're like, well, can we talk to the grandpa? Because he's like,
he can't be all there. I mean,
he's all there.
I was thinking, if he has a library card, I totally want to talk to him. He might be our oldest library card holder. Then
now he is. I believe he is a lifelong Floridian. I will have to ask him. He might already have, he may have actually gone to that building. I would imagine he did, because I think he spent a lot of time around here, and right now he's in DeLand, which is just about 30 miles to the direction north. That I'm not. Yeah, thank you, to the north. But yeah, like as Tom said, you could say in one hand, 100-year-old building, that's crazy, but there are humans that are walking around that are almost that age, and it's hard for me. Yeah, that's crazy. What are some of the things that you guys are doing there at OCLS to kind of celebrate 100 years of this this building and of our library?
We have a ton of stuff scheduled. We're going to kick off on January 7th with a building-wide event at the Orlando Public Library. And that downtown non-alcoholic craft cocktail venue called the Bandbox is going to be here. And they're going to be mixing up mixers all day for people, so you can sample some of their non-alcoholic craft cocktails.
I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about Bandbox. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have alcohol in the library, obviously, so this is the next best thing.
Yeah.
So they're going to turn it into kind of a speakeasy vibe for the day. So we're going to have 1920s music playing when you come into the building. The Melrose Center is going to have a virtual reality Albertson Library escape room experience, so you can kind of get a tour of what the old building was like, and that's going to be super cool.
That is really cool. You guys are nuts. You're going to do a VR escape room of the old library. Is it going to be just trying to get out of there? You're not going to make it spooky, are you?
No, it won't be spooky, but I know they've got a lot of references to the old site and what it was like back in the day.
That's awesome.
I had the original blueprints from the building in a file cabinet, so I gave them those. So they're literally going to try to recreate what it was like inside that old building. It's going to be super cool.
We have a lot of VR guys that listen to our show. We actually have a couple guys that actually work in the industry, and I didn't know this, but blueprints to VR guys are you're handing them gold. They freak out because they're like, oh my God, the actual dimensions and how tall the ceiling, and they lose their minds because now they can make a gaming map for I mean, theoretically we could make you a Fortnite map, make it at the old library. That's awesome. The VR escape room experience is really creative.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a cool day too for anybody who wants to just come in, and we'll probably have opportunities for people to share if you have an old story of the library from back in the day, the 20s to 60s version. They're going to have people gathering stories from anyone who wants to talk about what it was like to be in the Albertson Public Library, because we like to document that stuff because we're library people. We want to preserve history.
Do we know anything, like our good friend, Don Price over at Greenwood, who was the sexton there? Do you know anything about the namesake of the library and the family? And do you get into any of that during these celebrations?
We do. And in 2021, we had a big celebration for the guy who the library is named after, Charles Albertson. He was a retired police inspector from New York who retired to Orlando. And there was no library at that time, which frustrated a lot of people. So the Cirrhosis Club of Orlando, which was a women's club that still exists, they helped the city start a campaign, like, we need a library. And this Charles Albertson guy was like, hey, I've got 15,000 books, and I will totally donate them to the city, provided you'll build a library and name it after me. So they did.
I remember this story. Yeah. I remember this story. That's crazy that he would have that many books. Retired police inspector from New York. Nuts.
Right.
Aaron,
we still have some of those books, too. They're in a locked cabinet, obviously, because they'd fall apart if we had them out in public.
Right.
They're still here.
That's crazy.
Aaron, I'm curious. We talked a little bit about VR and the 100-year celebration. In your opinion, what do you see the library being in another 100 years from where it is now?
Great question.
Because I try to look at what will things be, where's technology headed, and then I look at things that have proved that I saw even during the pandemic, and when people weren't congregating together and everybody was staying away from each other, and we went a lot more virtual. I think that the pandemic pushed us faster into the virtual world.
Well, Aaron and I were just talking about that off the air.
But there were certain things that we learned during the pandemic that doing virtually just doesn't work for our human brains, right? Like
stand-up comedy,
watching shows, even being with other humans. There's something in our brains that we've evolved to. We want that camaraderie, and being away from people it makes us depressed. And there's still and having because you look at it 100 years from now, you're like, oh, everything will be on the internet, all information will be open and source and stuff. But I feel like having a place to congregate, to talk to other people, to
share knowledge, right? Isn't that what a library is?
And then it's so do you foresee a building being there? Do you think people will just visit it virtually? I'm curious.
I do. I foresee there will still be a building. I think the work of libraries has evolved a lot. If you look at trends, digital materials are what people are more interested in increasingly. So we'll probably see an increase in the rise of streaming services and ebooks and audiobooks, and maybe a decline in buying more physical materials as people don't use them anymore. But as we see those things happen, we call libraries a third space. So it's not your home, it's not your work, but it's another place to gather and you can hang out. So we host author events now. We host classes and events. We have events for homeschool families, for instance, because their kids aren't going physically to a school and they need places where they can meet other kids and socialize. So we have these homeschool groups. This is a place for them to come together.
And
we know that libraries are wanted because even here in Orange County, the Lake Nona community and the Horizon West community, they both have been speaking to us loud and clear. We need a library. We need places where we can hold meetings for homeowners associations, where families can come together, where people can go and just, I'm new to town. I don't know anybody. Where can I go? So that's where I think the work is going to become more important as time goes by.
That makes so much sense. And as you're kind of painting your picture of where you think it's going, that makes a lot of sense to me that you guys sort of evolve into more. I think you even become more important for the community because these spaces of community meeting are getting less and less. I never really thought about that. But the physical aspect of being able to go somewhere is, I think we'll still yearn for that. Right. And the thing about a library is it's free. A lot of places you can go to the mall or you can go wherever, but you're expected to purchase something if you're going to hang out there. There's no obligation in a library. You just follow the rules. You don't scream and yell and you don't break things and you don't steal things and whatnot. It's pretty easy.
You can be here and do nothing all day. You can look at books. You can talk to other people. And there's not that many places left in the world where that's the case.
You're right. We take it for granted. There are very few places that I could just sit and read a book without somebody saying, "Hey, what are you doing here? Get out of here." You know, like I mean, that's true of even my neighborhood. You know, like if I were just sitting on the sidewalk, people would be like, "What the hell's that guy doing out there?"
Aaron, I'm curious with the business of the library, because, like you said, it's, you know, the library is a community property.
Yeah,
let's
it's almost
say,
becoming the town hall now.
You know, and you know, the government you know, pays for us to have these resources. That's why, you know, you came aboard, and Orange County Library System was like, "Hey, we need to promote all these things we have available."
Right.
And our listeners have responded. They're like, "Man, I'm glad you started talking about this, because we had no idea it existed, and like we want to, you know, all the programs, the education you guys offer, like you said, for free if you have a library card, is unbelievable." But has it gotten with technology? Is it less expensive to provide these things? This is what I'm thinking. Is like before the internet and we had digital books and stuff.
It was all physical volumes.
We had to hold,
and
physical,
they got destroyed.
Yeah, and then, you know, so there was a certain cost in just the amount of building you need to actually hold this amount of information. And now it's with digital, everything going to the internet and being digital.
My mom, as a library, would have to do inventory and then take the books and then reorder the one. She hated reordering books that she'd only had for like a couple of years that had been destroyed.
So is it less expensive nowadays, or because technology is expensive, then
they got
just
3D printers and they got simulators and
I mean, just the so.
Well, I mean, the expense of everything goes up, and there is a cost associated with everything we do, including digital materials like books and stuff. So we still have to pay for licenses for every ebook. It's not like we get to buy one and then distribute it. We have to buy, if it's a high demand book, you might have to buy like 10 licenses in order to have people be able to have access to it. And then the other things people expect from us now, high tech stuff, like you said, 3D printers. We have, I just went to a presentation at the Alafaya branch yesterday, and one of their tech trainers was talking about they're doing all of these coding programs for kids, and we have to purchase, coding kits and pieces that they can build sort of these things that they're making, like physical things, because we're teaching people and kids the very beginnings of how to learn to be functional in a new digital world, in a new economy, basically.
Those coding kits
don't have access to these things when they're young. They're already behind by the time they get to school. So all that stuff has a cost. We have photo labs, we have maker spaces, we have all sorts of stuff. And it's just transferring the cost from maybe a physical book that you would hold in your hands to maybe a laptop and some soldering equipment and whatnot. So.
Yeah, my daughter does coding on the Osmo with the little tiles. It's like a coding kit. And that stuff's expensive. And if you lose a couple pieces, it's useless. So, that stuff is like, and some of it's fragile. So and I've seen, like, when we took our tours up there, I've seen all the equipment you guys have up there. I mean, it's, the 3D printer stuff, even just the amount of supplies you would need to even run that stuff. And the constant
and we
updates.
also offer these things for adults. And obviously the people that have to teach these classes also need to be trained, or they have to already come trained, like knowing how to do this. So there's an expense with staff training, and that's got to be ongoing and kept up to date if people are going to keep coming to these classes. And the other thing that we do a lot of now is career prep and career education. We have like a resume maker database on our website that people can use. We have career training and social workers. So our work is just evolving with the world as the world changes and we see what the needs are. We're trying to adapt and help fulfill those needs.
So, Aaron, just to recap, is the 100-year celebration happening all of 2023?
It is. We're going to kick off January 7th, and we're going to go through November of 2023. And we are doing a special author series during the year, and I can give you two good names, just so you know who's coming.
Yeah.
Kwame Nwache from Top Chef. He has a book out right now called My America, Recipes from a Young Black Chef. He'll be here February 19th in person.
That's huge.
And then April, for the Orlando Book Festival, R.L. Stein, the author of the Goosebumps series.
What?
I'm sure lots of people know and love that series. He's going to be here in person as well for Orlando Book Festival.
I don't even know what he looks like. I'm picturing George R.R. Martin, though. Like,
you got R.L.?
Yeah, you got R.L. Stein. You got the Goosebumps maker. Oh, to have
Mr. Goosebumps.
If you gave me 1% of that sweet Goosebumps money, I would be the happiest boy. The Goosebumps, that is a franchise. That is like Tom Brady, a kid's book. Goosebumps, really? That's crazy. Can we interview him?
Yeah. I hope so. I know we're definitely bringing him. We've got to look at what his availability is and what.
I did not mean to put you on the. I did not mean to put you on the spot. That was very tasteless of me. But that
no,
that's our brand.
If we can make it happen, I will totally make it happen.
The chat room's gonna melt because Goosebumps, man. Like, have you seen all the shirts that are rolling out now? It's all that stuff's back. Goosebumps is as hot now as it ever
nostalgia.
Was. I know.
Everybody who's middle aged now. That's perfect nostalgia of they all grew up with Goosebumps books.
I know. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations to everybody there on this awesome 100-year rollout, all the cool author events you'll be doing, all the other cool events that might pop up. I mean, I have a feeling that you guys will probably think of some other things as time rolls on. And
I will share those details as we have them. We've got some really cool stuff. I just can't talk about it yet, but I can't wait to talk about it.
All good. Well, take care. Tell everybody we said hey, and ocls.info for all of your information. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. See ya. That is Aaron from the Orange County Library System. We got a couple of minutes here. You want to do a couple of voicemails to fill a hole?
Yeah, or this all made me think of you know how they have career day and your kids' parents.
They still do it.
No, I know, but they call it, God, what do they call it? They call it some sort
My
of...
daddy's better than your daddy day.
No, and I think
I don't want to do it. I don't want to go in there and tell the kids I'm a podcaster. They're going to laugh. They're not going to know what it is. It's already dated technology. I'm not doing it.
Well, it's the... It's called it's kind of like a TED Talk, mini TED Talks that they do, and they call it teaching a class or whatever. But Max and Tommy told me they had these different parents come in and then talk about what they did and teach the kids.
And it's always a fighter pilot. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
That they had an author come in, and Max was talking about some kid's parent is an author and stuff like that.
That's
and he was
cool. That's way cooler than podcaster.
And
his name is Stephen King.
But when they were telling me about that, all I could think of was I want you to be impressed and be proud of me if I go in there. But then I laughed about what could I, and then I was like, should I teach them about radio? They don't even know what that is. But I don't even know how radio works. So I was like, well, I can't teach them that. And then I honestly, I was like, I couldn't teach them anything.
Man, everybody knows. No, you get up there. Everybody knows. You get up there. You download how radio works. Look. I could Google it right now. You want me to show you how easy this is?
But they don't even know that.
No, you don't.
Because I'd have to talk about the internet. What can I tell them?
You just type in how radio works. You show them
small
that
business,
over, and then at the end you give them a Tootsie Roll. If you leave them with candy, you're the king.
Yeah, no, but the parents that taught or that was teaching them about their jobs, they all had at least something. There was a karate guy who taught them about karate.
Loser.
No,
an author?
They loved it.
No, author, loser. Anybody can be an author. What if you self-published? I know so many people that self-publish. If you self-publish, loser.
Yeah, but they
no, I'm telling you, it's got to be picked up by a massive publishing company, and it's got to be a New York Times bestseller.
No, this is second and third grade or whatever, so they could teach them I'm an author, and here's how I, organize my books.
Well, you're author for fun. You mean you're an author, and that's your day job, and you make money, and that's how you feed your family?
I don't know.
Show me. Show me your book. Show me your book, author.
The reality doesn't matter, but I was trying to think of literally how I could break down what we do to make it something educational for kids.
You just say we're just like rock stars, except our songs are our dumb ideas, right? Kid would understand that if I asked.
Yeah, but how would you turn that into a teaching lesson? Because all the parents were turning it into a teaching lesson. It wasn't just
a teaching moment.
A teaching moment
where I'm teaching them shoot for the stars, or what am I teaching?
No, it wasn't motivation. It was just the author, I think, taught them how to
this is a preposition.
No, or not even how to organize a story correctly. If hey, there's a beginning, middle, and end. I'm sure something like
climax.
And then the karate guy.
I'm going to show you how to break a fake board.
Well, he was teaching them about different defense, punches and defense.
This is how you could take a gun away if somebody.
But there was something educational, and I'm I don't know what education or what
I don't know what education means.
what we can like how I could break down what I do and make it a lesson.
I don't know. I judge people and make fun of them. And then I record it.
But that's describing what you do, but that's not a lesson. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have a lesson. This job is lessonless. It's a lessonless job.
Well, that's what I came up with, Daniel. I don't got nothing.
Then you're right. Why does every job have to have a teaching moment?
Well, it doesn't.
Why does everybody have to be a first responder?
It's just so that you can impress your kid. Like, my dad's up there doing something.
But
and
what
your
if you don't care about impressing your kid? I think that's the difference between you and me, Eminem.
That's all.
I don't care. I don't
Dre.
care about impressing Maisie.
I
want her to impress me. See, that's what you need to do. You need to flip how you look at it. See, I want her to be impressive to me and to the world. You're too concerned about impressing your sons. At the end of the day, when you're dead, that's not going to impress them. So don't worry about impressing them now. Just worry about them impressing you.
Well,
that's my teaching moment. I did it. That's a teaching moment.
I want my sons to look up to me.
They do,
and but more.
Okay.
I want them to be.
But how much is enough?
It's never enough.
You're right. Okay. That's going to be the problem. You're forever going to be chasing this.
I don't want them to ever be like, oh, my dad, ever think anything negative.
What you're already thinking, they probably have already thought.
I mean, not now. They're too young, but...
So you don't think they've ever had a negative thought about you?
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
They may not say it, but trust me, they've had some negative thoughts. They're free thinkers.
But, I mean... I just want
You're worried about disappointing them.
Yeah.
But you're not going to disappoint them.
Well, I imagine they're sitting in class and they're like, well, these parents are up there teaching about their job. Like, I wish my dad was up there.
You think they instantly look at the other dad and start comparing it to their dad?
No, I don't
This is the problem that we've been dealing with all year about like what people think and stuff. I don't think they do. I think no matter who's up there, it could be me, Jesus, could be LeBron James.
Yeah, they're just bored.
No, but I don't think they care. I think you're their dad and you're the best. And that's just there.
Well, I'm not in front of the class teaching them about my job.
Yeah, but they didn't care about that
anyway. Karate guy.
I don't think they cared about Karate Guy, and I know they didn't care about Author. No one cares about Author.
But aren't they saying like, oh, well, little Joey, he's got Karate Dad, and his dad came in here, took off his karate job, which is not really anything.
He kicked the teacher in the sternum.
Yeah. I don't know what. There's not a 9 to 5, right?
He took his shirt off and he karate chopped the desk.
I see what Seth does. Seth's the karate guy. He's barely working.
Karate dojo owner is part time. That's part time.
Yeah.
It's like owning a Planet Fitness. You're not there all the time. You own it, and you just get some people to work there and walk around and spray the seats. Spray the seats.
Refill the Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah. Why do they even have Tootsie Rolls? I always thought it would be a better move if one day they're like, you know what? We're Planet Fitness, and this year we're getting serious about fitness by taking the candy out of our gyms.
Well,
it'd be a good flex.
Yeah, but they need the candy that helps their business, right? You know, like
no judgment and candy.
You want the people that are unhealthy.
Okay, I'm going to do my new Planet. You want my new Planet Fitness commercial? Yeah. Sorry, this is my new Planet Fitness commercial. Are you homeless and need to shower? Planet Fitness. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the problem is you need a credit card that you forget about that just keeps charging.
No, but homeless people, there's one famous homeless person here in Orlando that everybody likes, and I saw him walking back from the Fashion Square Mall, Planet Fitness, with a towel around his waist, like he was walking back from the pool at a resort, and I was like, all right. That's cool. And I was like, it's good for him, but I'm sure people are like, oh man, here he comes, right? But he ain't doing anything wrong, so I think I'm for it. He's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
he pays his dues, or somebody pays it for him, and he just goes down there, swipes his card, and showers up.
But I'm guessing Mr. Fitness doesn't want a bunch of homeless people showering in their facilities.
How do you stop it?
Oh, you can stop it.
How do you stop it?
I mean, you shoo them away. I've seen business owners usually get the hell out of there.
They're coming out of there in the droves. If you go to most Planet Fitness, it's 65% homeless people showering.
Well, I guess $10 is $10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you,
I don't care if our BDMs are homeless.
Yeah, but the model.
I hope that they're not.
I hope this doesn't discourage Planet Fitness from advertising with
They
us.
they were this close. They were this close.
But I'm virtually certain the only thing Planet Fitness wants is people paying $10
and forgetting
and
about
then
it.
never going there. That's their business model. Yeah. They want you to pay the $10 and to only drive by and never go there, and only think, man, I should go there next month, and then never $10 for free.
We got to take a break, buddy.
Bye bye.